of champions.
A hot, steamy Sunday afternoon in New York City, and we are ready for baseball. As today, the Yes Network presents New York Yankees baseball. It's the defending World Series champion New York Yankees against the Chicago White Sox in the rubber game of a three-game set from Yankee Stadium in the Bronx, New York. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Yankees baseball along with Al Leiter. I'm Michael Kay. Yankees lost yesterday 7-6, but that wasn't that painful. What was painful is they suffered their first significant injury of the year. Curtis Granderson, their center fielder, goes down.
Yeah, unfortunately for Curtis Granderson, the Yankees, he ended up injuring his groin, his left groin. Now this play here, Brett Gardner up at the plate in the sixth inning, aggressively rounded second base, and you see as he pulled up, obviously in great pain. This ended up being a grade 2 groin strain, and obviously him just lumbering into third base. The Yankees end up getting 4 runs, but that's not a good situation for the Yankees right now.
Now, he went on the 15-day DL, Al, and Joe Girardi said he's probably going to be out for a month. They called up Mark Melancon because their bullpen's a little light after yesterday. Not that many people are available. They could call up an outfielder sometime next week. So now it's going to affect a couple of people. Some people are going to have to step up to make up for the loss of Curtis Granderson. Brett Gardner's being one of them, Marcus Timms as well. Maybe sometime down the line it's going to be Randy Wynn. But right now, Gardner and Timms really have to step up.
Well, and they have. Look, Brett Gardner played plenty of center field, and there's really not much of a fall there. Certainly what he's able to do in center field and also at the plate. He's been getting a lot of base hits, a lot of offense from the left-handed pitchers as well. I think that's certainly a plus for Brett Gardner and the Yankees. Certainly his speed is fantastic. Marcus Timms batting over 500. He was basically brought in here to face left-handers. He probably will, as you say, Michael, get some at-bats against right-handers. They are short in the outfield, but I think with the way Timms has started off so hot early in the season, I think Joe Girardi and the Yankees are pretty comfortable with that right now.
Now, the Yankees also know they're going to suffer a little bit of a defensive drop with Timms in left field. That's what they've done offensively. Gardner, 333, 7 ribbies, and 11 stolen bases. Timms is 11 for 20, and as I mentioned, Randy Wynn will be part of that equation as well. We got a pretty good pitching matchup in this game. Mark Burley has been outstanding throughout his career for the White Sox. Struggled early this year. Phil Hughes has been great as well. Al Leiter's going to talk about Phil when we get back right here on Yes. Goes for the White Sox, 2-3, 4.68, and Phil Hughes for the Yankees, 2-0, 2.00 ERA. Hi, everybody. That's Al Leiter. I'm Michael Kay. Al Leiter's friend Red Bull will join us in just a moment. Tell me about Phil Hughes. Why is he a better pitcher this year?
I think what happens for a young pitcher, his opportunity that he had last year coming out of the bullpen, it changes the mindset. We talk about it all the time. Pitchers try to empty the tank. Basically you eliminate third and fourth pitch. What he did last year, I think, what made him much more aggressive. And by being more aggressive means that you're trying to cut down your pitch count, limit the walks, obviously, but getting into the count better. Having a different mindset is also recognizing that you're going to be much more aggressive with your fastball, eliminate maybe your third and fourth pitch, and you get an opportunity like a backdoor curveball there. I think the cutter last year when he was with Mariano was excellent. It helped him get a little more movement, especially to the left-hander. I think the combination of a lot, but more than anything else, being more aggressive.
So you think he's going to do well?
I do. I love Phil Hughes.
Love him.
Well, I like what he does.
When we come back, lineups, first pitch, baseball, that's all right here on the Yes Network. TV offers you incredible HD picture and sound. HD is free with IOTV. By NYSERDA. Go to ShiningExampleNY.com to find out how you can be in one of our next TV commercials. And by Avis, the official rental car company of the New York Yankees. That's a hot, steamy day here in New York City, especially very hot on the field, but a big crowd on hand. Let's take a look at the White Sox starting lineup, and it's presented by Lexus. The White Sox coming in 10-14 on the season, and they try off another leadoff hitter, third one in 3 days. Mark Kotsay's in right, Gordon Beckham at second. Andrew Jones will bat third and play center. Paul Konerko at first, Martine at third. Carlos Quinton, the DH. The bottom third of the order, A.J. Przinsky, the big hit yesterday, he'll catch. Alexei Ramirez, the shortstop, will bat eighth. And batting ninth and playing left field is Juan Pierre.
And the 23-year-old Phil Hughes, what a start for him so far. He's done very well coming off a decent outing in Baltimore, but that start in Oakland was very good with the no-hitter. Through 7 into the 8th inning. There's a 2-0. Has a chance to be 3-0 with the great ERA at 2.0. Excellent. Look at the batting average against 103.
Mark Kotsay is ready. So is Phil Hughes, and we are as well. So let's do it here in the Bronx. And the first pitch is a strike, and we're underway.
Well, let's take a look at the Jeep pitcher scatter report. Right on. How about this? Last 61 right-handed batters, 55. He's only 101 batting average against. Very tough on the right-hander. 3 is magic. Well, if he wins today, it'll be 3-0 in his first 3 starts. He'll be the youngest pitcher to do that since Andy Pettitte did it in 1996. A complete pitcher. I think with a fastball, curveball, slider, and the cutter combination, occasional changeup, he has been very good. So far, only 6 hits in his 3 starts in the 18 innings, a 103 batting average against. Phil Hughes has been very good so far.
Mark Kotsay, 1 for his last 11, 2 for his last 26. Really struggling, the 0-2. Fouled away. A constant search for a leadoff hitter for Ozzie Guillen. Hey, let's look at the game time weather conditions presented by Bigelow Tea. 84 degrees, high humidity, 10 miles per hour. The wind south-southwest. Partly cloudy is the forecast. Possible showers, they say, around 4 o'clock, 4:30. The 0-2. 1-2. I think yesterday that was about the 6th inning of the game.
Is that the Red Bull part of that? Beautiful day.
Al and I were standing by the batting cage, and Reggie Jackson walked by. I said, "How you doing?" I said, "It's really hot." And I was sweating. I really was sweating like I stole something. And Reggie goes, "You don't sweat. You just remain cool even when it's hot." I said, "You're a Hall of Famer. I'm not. I'm going to sweat." It was hot on the field. 2-2.
Reggie's still working out. He looks good. We got to start working out, Michael.
I work out every day. I even sweat more. Can you imagine? I'm working out to play even.
Playing for the tie.
Playing for the tie.
Mark Kotze leading off. They had Omar Vizquel in one of the games here leading off. Alexi Ramirez. Ozzie Guillen's been trying to mix and match. Michael mentioned out of the one-hole spot, it's less than 200 batting average with 9 runs scored. This is a team that has really mostly been built around a 3-run homer, and Ozzie Guillen was not that kind of player. Always wanted to try to add a little more speed. They did with Juan Pierre. They thought he'd be the leadoff hitter. They got him 9 now. He's been struggling.
3-2. Grounded up the middle. Nice play by Canó. He knocks it down, though. Couldn't come up with it cleanly. And a base hit for Kotze.
Yeah, we're getting accustomed to seeing Robinson Cano. It didn't go that far. I think the chop, let's see. I think it just took a quick little hop on him. Made a fantastic play. One of the nicer plays you'll see in baseball in Baltimore. He's getting so comfortable with going that way and throwing that little flick pirouette throw backwards. Tough play.
Now, he had a shot of Ozzie Guillen, the White Sox manager. And yesterday, Javi Vasquez started for the Yankees. And I believe after the second inning, as Beckham swings and misses, the umpires met him coming out to the mound and made him go in and change his glove. And we surmised at the time that Ozzie Guillen asked the umpires to go out and check. Well, the umpires have been warned of his two-tone glove in spring training, so at one point they were going to get him this year, and that was all the umpires. When Ozzie was asked about it, only Ozzie could get away with this as the runner was going, fouled away. Ozzie said, no, that wasn't me. He goes, I have no idea what the rules are. Only Ozzie could get away with saying, I have no idea what the rules are.
And yeah, well, I don't know how much I believe that. I'm sure he knows some of the rules, but he did say that, that came from the umpires, and if his own players did, he wouldn't do that. And the only reason why we brought it up here was because of how Vasquez played out his time in Chicago, and Ozzie Guillen's not afraid to say what's on his mind, and he wasn't as favorable with some of his comments about Vasquez. Some of the big games coming down the stretch.
Umpires today, Dan Iasonia is behind the plate. Dale Scott, the crew chief, at first. Jerry Meals at second, and Mark Wegner over third. The 0-2. Strike 3. Beckham down looking.
Beckham was frustrated that I don't know whether he just frustrated that he swung at a pitch out of the zone. I thought it was a hit and run, but the way he reacted before that. But this is just a dotted, perfect fastball. Beckham not able to pull the trigger. There's no wasting pitches right here. Look at that, perfectly on the corner. Beautiful pitch. Just crisp, aggressive behavior. Mentioned in the open about Phil Hughes. I think that any starting pitcher, certainly a young pitcher, get an opportunity to come out of the pen. And the way Phil Hughes was last year, he was lights out. Best ERA after the All-Star game of any reliever in baseball.
Andrew Jones, Rockets one foul.
And part of that aggressiveness is just pounding the strike zone with your pitches. And I think part of it with Phil Hughes is knowing what pitches work early in the game and what doesn't. And I think it's hard for a young pitcher to eliminate certain pitches and then to go back to it. Meaning fastball curve working early, maybe your slider comes a little later. And you learn all of that with experience.
The 0-1. There's a strike.
Boy, Andrew Jones had a day yesterday. He had 5 home runs career against Vasquez and ended up getting 2 in his first 2 at-bats. A hanging breaking ball in his first at-bat in the first inning.
If you just joined us, Curtis Granderson put on the 15-day DL, although Joe Girardi admitted it's going to be at least a month with his groin injury. And Mark Melancon, another pitcher, called up. That ball gets away from Posada. He has to navigate around Jones, and by that time, Kotze is at second.
Well, Jones doesn't have to give up where he's standing. Watch where Andrew Jones just kind of stays there. He gets out of the way a little bit, but even if Posada ended up going through Andrew Jones, look at it, right through his legs. Posada trying to push him out of the way. Kate's got enough speed. He would have been safe.
And now Stevie Donahue comes out to check on Jorge Posada. Let's see what happened. Did he pull something, try to get around Jones? See, it got him on the upper left arm. Maybe it was that. But he's staying in the game.
Oh, did you see that there, Mikey? The end of the bat hit his eye. And Stevie Donahue came right away, because I thought Posada was looking at Andrew Jones saying get out of the way, but he was looking right into the Yankee dugout.
The 1-2. High fly ball, center field. Gardner will make the play. Tagging is Kotze. He'll go to third. So 2 outs. Let's take another angle on this injury to Posada. So he goes around. And there he is. His right eye kind of gets scraped by the end of the bat. So we mentioned at the start the Yankees have had a relatively injury-free start, and Granderson goes on the DL, and you just hold your breath, because that's what hurts teams, literally and figuratively. If you can stay healthy for most of the season, you got a pretty good chance. But a lot of teams can't stay healthy. Konerko fouls it back. Let's take a look at the Yankee defense, brought to you by Mercedes. In the outfield, it's Marcus Timms, Brett Gardner, and Nick Swisher. That's left to right. In the infield, Pena, Jeter, Canó, and Johnson, as Alex Rodriguez has a day off at third. Posada behind the plate. Gardner made 63 starts in center last year, so no stranger out there. He's probably a better center fielder than he is a left fielder. The 0-1. Strike. Konerko didn't like that. Turns around to tell Iason he thought it was too far inside.
Well, there was a backup slider, Michael. Watch where Posada's setting up, but that ball just spun. They call it a cement mixer. It just spins side to side, but this will get over the plate here, actually inside corner. Just a reaction for a hitter like Konerko. Seeing the spin of a slider, they anticipate the break running away from it. When it stays inside, it actually is an effective pitch. Pitcher doesn't try to do that. Phil Hughes going right after Konerko, their hottest hitter.
The 0-2. Popped up. Canó on the outfield grass will make the play for the final out of the first. So the infield single does not hurt Hughes. The White Sox lead 1. The full DH, so a half day off for him. He'll bat third. Cleaning up and playing right field, Nick Swisher with Alex Rodriguez having the day off. Robinson Cano in second. Jorge Posada will catch. Batting seventh and playing left field, Marcus Timms. Brett Gardner's in center field batting eighth. Batting ninth and playing third base, Ramiro Pena.
And Mark Burley, the 31-year-old left-hander from St. Charles, Missouri. He's gone 3 in a row he's lost. This guy has been as consistent as anybody in baseball. You see his ERA somewhat respectable, 4.68, coming off a tough start against Texas, where he went 7 innings. Let's take a look at the Home Depot Jeep Scout report. Bronx bombed in 10 games. He's 1-6 with a 6.43. Ahead, behind. His batting average, when he gets ahead 0-1, he's 156. When he's behind, 381. And you talk about model of consistency. He's won double digits. He's thrown 200-plus innings. He's started 30 games or more in the last 9 straight seasons.
Well, we like to break news here on the broadcast. And for those that didn't know, Home Depot and Jeep have merged, and now it's now one company. That's the Home Depot Jeep Pitcher Scouter.
Jeep's Pitcher Scouter, of course, Michael.
The 1-1. There's a base hit off the bat of Derek Jeter, so he leads off with a single.
Well, he's hit Burley in the past. Actually, the Yankees have said about the batting average and the record that he's had. Look, just a beautiful swing, head down on the baseball. This is what Derek Jeter does so well as a major league hitter, hitting that ball through the right side. Good way to start the game for the Yankees. Look at the head on the baseball, just tracking that ball, corner.
Here's Nick Johnson with Jeter on first. Very interesting conversation behind the batting cage with Kevin Long, the Yankee hitting coach. You know, we were talking about Nick Johnson's struggles, and he said, listen, what he's doing is he's getting too anxious, so he's drifting forward. He said he's got to trust himself and stay back. I'd like him to hit the ball in left field. He said that makes you stay back. He said, but I told him today, we're not talking mechanics. Just go out there and do your job. Go get hits. He said sometimes that's the way you have to approach things.
Completely. You know, it becomes... Look, there's a mechanical element to playing in any sport, and then there's a mind part of it. You could really think yourself into slumps or bad streaks by being too mechanical. Where's my hands? What am I doing? Was my head front shoulder out? Did I step here? Look at the little thing, the twitch in my eye. Just go see that. You know, you'll see that. To simplify it, as you said, what Kevin said. You know, see the ball, hit the ball. You know, put on a good swing on it. Put the barrel of the bat on the ball and see what happens.
Runner was going, and he does take the ball to left field. But Pierre is right there as Jeter will get back to first. Nick Johnson now 2 for his last 23.
And I think because of the game, when it's about slumps, it's about failure. Look, 3 out of 10, you're a great hitter. Or you're trying to drive that ball going to left field, a little slider away. Watch him staying back, talking about the balance, keeping his weight stayed back, but that ball just running down and away in a hit-and-run situation. I don't know if he would have swung at that. It looked like it was a ball off the plate a little. But, you know, a lot of cases, your managers will do that, create a hitter to be aggressive and swing, put him in a hit-and-run mode, especially with a guy like Burley who throws a lot of strikes.
Count 1-0 to Teixeira. You don't steal on Burley. No stolen bases against him this year. He's pitched 33 innings. Andy Pettitte has gone 34 innings without allowing a stolen base. Burley has a great move toward first. There's a strike.
Well, Andy Pettitte has the most career-wise, but since 2001, he has the most pickoffs in the major league, 66, 23 more than Andy. So, as Michael says, neutralize a running game. And he works so fast. This year he's averaging 2 hours and 24 minutes in his starts. Gets the ball, gets on the mound, no messing around, gets a sign and goes.
Off-speed pitch, count 2-2. Good numbers against Burley, 12 for 38, 1 of the 12 a home run. There's that move toward first.
Yeah, the lefty, a lot of people say, well, it's so much easier as a left-hander. It's really not. Well, the reason why a left-handed pitcher has a good move or bad move is based on what he does with his front knee. Can't cross over the pitcher's rubber.
Strike 3. Teixeira down looking. Check out the White Sox defense behind Burley, and it's brought to you by Mercedes. In the outfield, you've got Pierre, Jones, and Kotze. That's left to right. In the infield, Tien, Ramirez, Beckham, and Konerko third to first. Brzezinski behind the plate, and Mark Burley is on the mound. Andrew Jones has 10 gold gloves, and only 4 other players in big league history have had 10 or more gold gloves in the outfield. That's Swisher. Looks at a ball. Roberto Clemente with 12. Willie Mays with 12. Ken Griffey Jr. with 10. And Al Kaline with 10. That's it. Foul back. Ozzie Guillen is fun to watch.
He did that as a player. He did it as a third base coach, talking to the other team, talking to anybody who wants to listen.
Was he with the Marlins when you were there?
No,
was he the third base coach?
He was third base coach, was with the Mets. And he would just constantly, during the game, talking. Fun guy.
And Swisher right back to Burley, took a base hit away, and that's going to do it here in the first. No runs a hit, no errors, 1 man left. We played 1 at the stadium. There's no score in this run.
Up great and take the field and stink. David Cone kicked me out of the bullpen one day because his stuff was so bad and went 7 innings and gave up 1 run. And he said, Joe, I don't want you to see what I got today. I caught 2 pitches and he threw me out.
Have you ever had bad bullpen sessions?
I want to laugh on that. Absolutely. It's so true. As you get older, and I totally could see that with David Cone, and I wonder if even Girardi's being nice there and saying, I've seen enough after 2. Warming up for a starting pitcher, to me, but you eventually can evolve to a point where you're comfortable realizing that it's just getting your arm loose. Getting your pitches, throwing them, see where they are.
There's no correlation between good stuff and the bullpen?
No, because there's a lot of games where you come out of there and go, wow, I got great stuff, and you don't get out of the 5th. And then conversely, as Joe was just saying, you got a guy who just, not throwing anything, nothing's on the ball other than his hand, and he pitches a great game. But that's a mindset thing, because there's a lot of pitchers will use that as, hey, am I good? How is it today?
Well, David actually told me that same story, but David's words to Jordy were a little livelier. He pretty much threw him out of the bullpen. He almost blamed Girardi for his bad stuff in there. And you hear stories like that in Major League Baseball. I mean, it's almost like baseball lore, where somebody has a terrible headache when they wake up. They shouldn't play, and they get in the lineup and they hit 4 home runs. You heard those stories all the time. So what happens before doesn't necessarily dictate what's going to happen during the game.
And what Joe was describing there, as a starting pitcher, as a starting catcher, you'll go down to the bullpen for the last 10, 12 throws of your starter just to see what he's got. Kind of just get a feel. Also, too, for them to get, a feel behind the plate and seeing the ball out of your hand. So normally the backup catcher or a bullpen catcher will catch the first 10 or 12 minutes, and then the starter will come in for the last few. And that's what Girardi was talking about when he came down.
Mark Teahen battling Phil Hughes. The Addams Family is on Broadway now.
Is that Ozzy?
That's the thing. What do they call Thing? Yeah, but no, that's Ozzie Guillen's hand. He's playing with that kid there. And then he finally gives him a towel. He's a thrill a minute, Ozzie Guillen.
But there's an element of fun having been lost in the game, I think. You talk to the older guys, and some of the guys today, just for the reason of scrutiny and media attention and all the different sites where they feel like they have to be so guarded and protected, and it's sad in a way because it is a game, and it should be fun, and you should be able to smile and laugh like Ozzy or Robinson Cano and several guys.
Strike 3. Teahen down looking. Second strikeout for Phil Hughes.
Well, he threw the cutter and then just painted the. Wow, this isn't paint. This is right down the middle. He couldn't pull the trigger. It's where you get enough of a little bit of a giddy up, and he just can't pull the trigger. In a case where he's just getting a lot of fastballs. Well, Teahen struggled coming in. He was 3 for 17 in his last few at bats, which would be interesting in that first inning. I know it was early on, but it says a lot about what Phil Hughes is feeling when you had Konerko up with a runner at third base. He went right after him. See the managing of a lineup.
Here's Carlos Quentin. There's a strike.
A few of those sliders there, Michael, is backing up. The second pitch to Konerko in the first inning, and there it is again. It's effective, but as a pitcher, you don't want to throw that often because it actually ends up being in the hitting zone.
IOTV offers you incredible HD picture and sound. HD is free with IOTV, the official HD service provider of Yankees baseball on Yes. Fouled away.
Great ratio. 23 strikes, 7 balls. That's just attack. Here it is. I've got good stuff. You got to hit it.
Count 1-2.
Good buried curveball right there. 0-2 count. You want to expand. Anytime an 0-2 count, you have at least 2. I always thought, 0-2 off the plate, make him fish. And here you could also go with another off speed if you do. Make sure it's off the plate. Let's come back with another curveball here. Posada was wanting the fastball in. Anytime you have a pitcher who has conviction, as Phil did there, he shook off Posada twice. But what Posada's seeing, too, those were two good takes by Quint, meaning that he wasn't lunging out in front because they were good curveballs down the zone. And a slider.
Fly ball right field. Nick Swisher. 2 out. What turned Hughes around? When he was a starter before, he seemed somewhat tentative, uncertain. Was it the success that he had in the bullpen?
Yes. Well, also, too, a couple years ago when he had the There's a hamstring when he had the no-hitter in Texas. And then there was that health issue of him coming back. And yes, Michael, when you've got to look, he was a top pick out of high school. You blow through the minor leagues. You feel really good about yourself. Then you get a couple little bumps and bruises while you're in the big leagues with your feelings hurt with some starts. And then really by accident, right? But Chin Ming Wong came back and he ended up going back to the pen.
Right.
And, rest is history. But I think what helped, I'm going to say for me, is that it just changes your mind as a reliever of knowing what you need to do out there for the manager not to get frustrated, coming in, the importance of the first batter of every inning, the importance of getting ahead. Not that you don't realize it as a starter, but as a starter you realize, okay, I have 100 innings. I want to go 7+8. If you can complete a game, that'd be great. It's just a different mindset.
Popped up, shallow left, coming on Timms, and he slides to make the play. Nice play by Marcus Timms, covering a lot of real estate, looking up into the sun, and then sliding to make the play. And Orioles have taken the first two of their series against the Red Sox. 2 night games, Monday and Tuesday, and an afternoon game on Wednesday. Thursday's an off day, then a 3-game set in Boston. 4 games to see Johnny Damon and the Tigers in Detroit. Johnny Damon with a walk-off grand slam yesterday, and they brought a little of the Bronx to the Tigers as Johnny got hit with a pie after the game. There's a picture from the paper. Robinson Cano hits one deep to right field. Did he get enough? No, it's one hop up against the wall. Coming up throwing is Kotze, and Cano is in there with a double.
Well, Cano, one of the hotter hitters in baseball. A big curveball. He's out in front. But what makes him such a special hitter? Watch his hands stay back. He's got nice little bat lag. That ball being up enough in the zone. Robbie initially thought maybe he had enough here at Yankee Stadium. Short hop in the wall there. Marcotte getting it in. Very comfortable right now, Robinson Cano.
Here is Jorge Posada. In a little bit of a slump right now. 3 hits in his last 24 at bats. Still at 290. He'd gotten off to such a good start. Hot shot to short, so he doesn't get Cano over. And there's one away.
Boy, hits it right on the nails there, realizing, okay, a productive out obviously would be the right side, but it's anytime you hit it hard, and certainly not wanting to make it out at the shortstop, moving Robinson over.
Pitch to Marcus Timms is low, 1-0. Timms 11 hits in his last 17 at bats, and he might start seeing some action against right-handers. We'll also see Randy Wynn now with the injury to Granderson, and I believe that Melanson's not up for very long. They needed Melanson today because the bullpen's short. They don't have a Savis available, Sergio Mitre, Damaso Marte. Those guys are not available. So they bring up Melanson. They go with 13 pitchers. So once the bullpen problem is solved, and there's Mark, and everybody is rested, then I think what they might do is they'll call up one of the outfielders from AAA, just have that extra set of legs. Ground ball up the middle, Ramirez, and he gets Timms for the second out. Greg Golson would be somebody that they might think about bringing up. He had a pretty good spring training. He's very, very fast. He beat some legs off the bench.
Well, that's a roster situation too, Michael. I think he's the only rostered outfielder.
Yes. John Weber had a very good spring training. He's not on the 40-man. So if you're going to bring him up, you'd have to risk losing somebody who's on the 40-man to take him off the roster. So a lot of it is bookkeeping as well. Golson would be the guy that you'd probably see up here. Here's Brett Gardner, and he's going to play every day now. And he was becoming pretty much the everyday player anyway. I asked Joe, I said, you know, you kept Gardner in the other night to hit against Thornton, and you had Timms on the bench, and you've sat down Gardner against pitchers like Lester and David Price. Off the glove of Canerco, and it trickles into right field. Here comes Canó. He's going to score. It's an RBI single for Gardner, and the Yankees lead 1-0.
Wow, he just gets it off the end of Canerco's bat, just tops it. Canerco not getting to the ball, and that just trickled away. You see the way Beckham tried to reach back for it. See if this gets an in-between hop. He just didn't get to the ball by him flicking it. Had he not touched it, maybe Beckham would have had a shot at it. Canerco knows it right after he flicks it away and then sees what's happening. You see Thompson, the third base coach, easily waving home Canó.
Anyway, Joe's take on having Gardner not play those early games against the tough lefties. He said, well, you know, you want to get him comfortable. He said, but the other thing is, we've got to get Marcus Timms at bats. If we want him to help us later on, you've got to keep him sharp. And they actually did do that. And they did not ruin the confidence of Brett Gardner. So he gets another hit against the lefty and now has a 5-game hitting streak. Now, this is a great matchup here. I almost liken this to a great fastball pitcher against a batter who has a great bat and really, really likes hitting the fastball. Well, there's a guy who leads the American League in stolen bases and a guy who doesn't give up stolen bases. Who's going to win this battle?
Well, we saw what happened yesterday. I thought John Danks, who doesn't have quite the same move as Mark Buehrle, but really contained Gardner in a real tough way, meaning that he really changed his tempo and his cadence of throwing over. This is going to be a tough matchup for Gardner. And also, too, Michael, with a guy like Buehrle, and certainly what his move is and is talked about scouting. Brzezinski's right at about 30% so far throwing runners out.
And Pena swings and misses. Now, Alex is not in the lineup today. You might be wondering why, if you didn't watch the pregame show. Well, just tired legs right now. He's played every single game. And Joe decided this is almost like 2 days off for him. With a day game yesterday, off today, a night game tomorrow. He wants to give Alex a little bit of a blow. So Alex sits and Ramiro Pena plays third base. But it does show you how the lineup shortens quite a bit. If you have Alex batting fourth, then all of a sudden Gardner's ninth. Now it's Pena. There goes Gardner. And Pena pops it up. That could be trouble, but right there is Kotze. Had him played shallow for the final out of the second. 1 run, 2 hits, and 1 man left. We played 2. It's 1-0 Yanks.
It's just one of those things you kind of have to find your own way, and sometimes it's not the smoothest smoothest path that you go down, but I do feel comfortable now, and like I fit in, like I've kind of found a home here.
Well, the Yankees are certainly hoping that he has found a home. That was Kimberly Jones yesterday talking with Phil Hughes, and Hughes starts off Ramirez with a breaking ball. You have been in that situation, Al, the youngest kid in the rotation. What are some of the things you go through?
Well, he didn't have Ron Guidry around to really abuse him. It's part of it. And you think about, and in a good way, I say that. Ron Gator was like a father to me in a lot of ways, him and David Getty. He's 23 years old. I mean, he was up in 07, 08, and then certainly last year was his breakout year. He's 23. He'll be 24 in June. Still a young kid. You bet he's a young guy on the staff, and he's got a great career in front of him. And that's part of it. Look, when you're drafted out of high school and you spend a couple years in the minors and you get to the big leagues, and you learn from your success and also your failure. Because in most cases, your big stud pick out of high school as he was, most of it's all good. How do you respond to, some tough moments?
Really, what did Guidry do to you? That's the thing that, I mean...
I wasn't allowed to go to the bathroom in the back of the plane. When Billy was the manager. He wouldn't let me go.
Now, so wait a minute. So if you couldn't go in the back of the plane and you had to go to the bathroom, you had to walk past Billy.
Yeah.
That must have been pretty scary for a kid.
You remember when you were a beat writer for the Post.
I know. I can go to the bathroom in the back, though.
No, you couldn't.
No, I couldn't even look back there.
Just fun stuff for Gator.
Yeah, that sounds like a ball.
No, that was a ball. I made sure that I didn't have to go to the bathroom. The hazing, it's part of it.
And you ended up becoming almost best friends with Righetti, right?
Braggs is my mentor to this day. Yeah, he's been a good friend. I mean, it was a little different for me. I grew up 65 miles from here, and certainly haven't watched the games on picks, and just through the years of coming to the stadium, and then eventually 3 years later, you're playing in the Yankee Stadium out of high school. Very familiar with the guys and the stadium itself.
Slow roller going to be a tough play if that's a fair ball. Nick Johnson should have let that roll, because once he picked it up, there was no play anyway, and they did have couple of rotations left on it. Let's see if it would have rolled foul.
Well, you know, the reaction probably where he's coming from, Michael, let's see, this would be a good angle, is that he thinks if he can get to that ball soon enough, he can tag him, because this ball is going to stay fair.
No, it's not. That was still rolling.
Yeah, it's past him. Let's see here.
I mean, what would be the harm of letting that roll? It's just to see how it plays
Once
out.
it passes him there, you're right. Yeah, he should have played. He should have. Easier.
Runner goes, and Posada cannot handle the baseball. Stolen base for Pierre.
Pierre, one of the reasons why he was brought over here, great base stealer at 60-plus bags a few years ago. First move, as soon as he saw Phil Hughes lift that leg, Posada couldn't get a grip. Let's see the transfer here. Oh, just slipped out of his hand. Just couldn't get the transfer to his hand.
There's a strike. You saw Iasonia resting his hand on Posada's back. A lot of umpires do that. And he disengaged once the ball was caught. And the ball pops out. The 0-2. High pop-up. Left field. Tough sun field. Timms makes the play. 2 outs. You know, we keep talking about you as a kid. And on Friday, Al, this past Friday, that was the anniversary of you getting traded to the Toronto Blue Jays. And I remember I was a New York Post writer and you were crying in the parking lot. To this day, you still deny that you were crying.
Millie was crying.
You were crying, too.
Wasn't crying. There's no crying in baseball.
It was in the parking lot. There's crying in the parking lot.
No, I mean, at that time, Toronto, I didn't know much about Toronto, and they weren't the winning team that they were, and going up to the Great White North. It ended up being great. I ended up being part of a couple World Series.
You thought it was another country.
I did think I was in another country. I got relatives up there. No, it was, yeah. Look, that was a time also, too, with the Yanks where, you know, you had a bad start or two. You realized that you were on that old Columbus shuttle. It was, and I had blister problems. And it wasn't easy.
I always wonder, though, that the trade to Toronto might have been the best thing to happen to you. Because the Yankees, you know, at that point, as you said, very results-oriented. And you were on the DL essentially for 3 years. Not many teams would have really stuck with you.
Up in Toronto.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. To this day, Pat Gillick, who was a great general manager, I remember often he'd look me in the eye and just hold my shoulder. He said, look, the day you give up on yourself, I'm going to give up on you. And it was part of the whole rehab. I had 2 shoulder surgeries. After I left here, 1 start with Toronto, and I couldn't lift my arm.
That was after the famous 162 pitch out.
Yeah, that was the Dallas Green.
Speaking of pitches, 50 pitches for Phil Hughes, 37 strikes.
Great ratio, 37 strikes, 13 balls. These White Sox hitters know that. Be aggressive, hitting strikes to hit.
Count 2-2.
He's throwing that little spin cutter, and it's staying on the inside part of the plate. I don't know if he's doing that by design. It's effective. These right-handed hitters are either not able to pull the trigger in there. You saw the Beckham swing. That was an emergency hat. Hughes also, too, he gets... looks like a cross shoot, like dart. He'll stay closed very long, and then all of a sudden he cross from the third base side. Effectiveness of dotting that fastball away, as he's done so far early in this game. He did it to Tien and Beckham.
Three-two, swing and a miss. Powered a fastball by him. Third strikeout for Phil Hughes. No runs, a hit, no errors. 1 man left on base. Beckham goes upstairs. 888-772. Standard text messaging rates apply. Will it be baseball or will it be horse racing? I vote horse racing. Baseball is too hard. I just don't think you can do it. By the way, did you realize that I gave you the winner of the Derby yesterday, right on the air?
You did?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, the Mutter guy.
Yeah.
The Mutter horse.
Right. The
How much
Mutter
did you
guy.
win?
I didn't win a dime. Life is enough of a gamble, Al. Count 1-1 on Jeter, who singled in the first inning. There's a strike.
8-1 odds. I had the 12-1.
I think
that
it
was
was
the only reason why I picked that one. I forget even which one I picked this in.
Did you bet?
No.
Slow roller toward short, barehanded by Ramirez, and he gets Jeter. Nice play by Alexi Ramirez.
Well, this is a do or die right here with the speed of Derek Jeter, just barehanded it, keeping his eye on it, gets a good grip on this baseball, and quickly making a strong throw. Nice stretch there from Canarco, almost pulling him off the bag. Watch here, all in one fluid motion. See Canarco realizing, oh, wait a minute.
Now let me throw this at you, Al. Okay? In these 3 games, and we'll see if he keeps his foot on the bag. These 3 games, I mean, Paul Canarco's in the final year of his contract, hitting great, hit a home run against Pettit. He has no range whatsoever at first base anymore. He used to be a good first baseman.
Yeah, he was.
I mean, there are balls going to his right. I mean, the ball by Gardner should not have been a hit. I mean, it was scored correctly, but it should have been gobbled up easily. He just doesn't have much movement to his right.
So you're saying as a free agent, more of a DH guy?
Which I don't think is good anymore because I don't think DHs get the money they used to get.
No, not even signed, let alone, look what happened right with this team. With Jermaine Dye. I mean, they said, about his defense and his, slowing down and not being much of a runner.
Strike 3, Nick Johnson down looking as his struggles continue.
But he can hit, and I think if you can hit, even though it's a defensive, but look at the cut. Johnson coming in on inside. Now it's so effective, lefty on lefty or righty on righty to throw that front door slider. Perfect location, just painted the corner, and that's a give-up pitch. Exactly the effect of what Burley was trying to do. As a left-handed batter, you're throwing it at his front hip, and you don't want him to swing. It's just a matter of whether he hits the corner or not. He did.
That one is chopped toward third. So the count 1-1. Along with Al Leiter and Kimberly Jones, I'm Michael Kay. You're watching Yankees baseball here on Yes. On the bottom of the third, Yankees are leading 1-0. There's our pictures. So you know what we look like. Count 2-1. Teixeira struck out looking in the first inning. I don't want to tell secrets out of school, but they played your highlight reel between innings to Paul Simon's You Can Call Me Al.
Yeah, it's a good song.
And I got to be honest with you, Al, you were sitting back just staring at yourself lovingly.
No, why do you go there?
Because that's exactly what you were doing. I mean, what were you doing?
I was looking.
What'd you think?
I used to play. I had some good moments. That was pretty cool.
That's lovingly. I'm not saying that it was anything weird.
I think it's really nice that they do that for any ex-player.
Rocketed to left field, a base hit for Teixeira. That's Mike Bonner and the crew in the scoreboard.
That's right, Mike Bonner. Thank you, Mike. No, look, we retire. We don't die. You mentioned about Reggie Jackson. I get a kick out of, when having been here with the Yankee greats being around. And, of course, the present fan likes their players. But, eventually players retire. And if you're lucky enough to be around the sport and do something within it, it's fun.
Do you think now, looking back, that you were a better player than you thought you were when you played?
No. I was always hard on myself.
But now, do you think that you're better? There's a base hit off the bat of Swisher. You were hard on yourself, so I'm saying, do you think now, looking back, I was pretty good?
I think we talked about this the other day, but with Paul O'Neill. I said about, the difference. Girardi said the difference in O'Neill and Canó is that, Canó smiled a little bit more. I think as players, you put so much pressure on yourself, and you're hard on yourself, and there's not enough smiling going on as Canó, where, obviously Guillen's a manager, he's not having to perform. So, yeah, when I look back, I knew I was a Hall of Famer. I had some great moments, and I cherish those moments. Those memories are very vivid, very clear, and I'm fond of it. But I don't think I was better than, I think I was, pretty good.
Here's Robinson.
I was much more harder on myself, and even in reflecting back.
Canó with a double his first time up.
I'll never forget, and I kind of live by certain mantras and different quotes from different players, but I remember it was in that year when I got traded, and Don Mattingly was struggling offensively. Winfield had hurt his back, and he didn't have protection. He was batting 1-something. And I came out, goofy as I always am, and Donnie Baseball sitting in the dugout, and he's down. And I said, "Come on, you're Donnie Baseball." He said, he was the way Mattingly so classy. He said, "You know what, Al? For as good as the good is, the bad's not far behind." And that's the way Donnie played his career. Always not worried, but thinking about that as good as it is, a bad spell is going to happen. And, in order to stay away from it, hopefully you're one step ahead of it.
Donnie Baseball now the hitting coach for the Dodgers under Joe Torre. Now 3-0 count on Canó. Do they green light him against Burley? And does Burley throw him a cookie? Is he just trying to get the ball over here?
I wouldn't throw him a cookie. I know what happened there with Marte out in Anaheim. Go somewhere down the way.
Boy, actually looked like he pitched around him, Al. As strange as it is, there was a base open, but it was third base.
Well, it could be. Look, when you have a hot hitter, and it happened in the first inning with Pettit, he just didn't get the backdoor cutter, and Konerko ended up hitting the home run just over the right field wall. But if you get in a bad count and you have a hot hitter as Canó, yes, you're pitching around, but you're still thinking that you can make that good pitch. And that's the danger of a pitcher who doesn't recognize that I can get the next guy, even if it means that I walk the bases loaded.
Well, the bases are loaded. Teixeira, Swisher, and Canó. And here is Posada. Pitch outside. Posada yesterday was 0 for 4. Today he's 0 for 1. He is 3 for his last 25. So the White Sox feel that they could pitch to him.
Great
and
numbers.
He's 3 for 19 against Burley.
Maybe, looking into that, the matchups there, Michael, maybe that has something to play into it. Not only is Canó hot, he was 333 going into today's game.
But he's 4 for 10 lifetime.
Now he had the double. So, yeah, you look at that, and there's enough history there. 3 for 19, a sub-160 average. Burley against Posada.
Count 2-1. This is the first time this year that Burley has had the bases loaded against him. That one is drilled to left field. Pierre makes the play. So Posada hit the ball very hard, but right at Juan Pierre. So Burley pitches into and out of trouble. No runs, 2 hits, no errors, and 4 sets of current MLB teammates have played at least 10 consecutive years together. Who are they? Well, we know one set. One trio, actually. Jones swings at the first pitch and grounds it to Canó. 1 away. So from Andrew Jones to his long-lost sister, Kimberly Jones.
Yes.
Kim, how are you? Vision in purple.
A little warm down here today, Michael, as you know.
Yeah, that's why I'm glad I'm up here. Tell me about Curtis Granderson, who wishes that he was out in the field.
He absolutely does. I talked to Curtis this morning. He said when he hit second base, he thought he cramped up. Later, of course, learning he had a grade 2 strain of his left groin. He's on the 15-day DL. He said, I know it's going to be the 15 days, but I'm really hoping to be back not long after that. Although Joe Girardi says it'll probably be more like a month of an absence for Granderson. Granderson says no one wants to be hurt, and I'm disappointed by it. Now I'll have to be there mentally for my teammates.
Now, another thing that the Yankees have to be a little bit concerned about, when you subtract Mariano Rivera out of the equation, Kim, the bullpen has not been up to the standards it's set over the last couple of years. I know you talked to a couple of people today, Boone Logan and David Robertson. What do you got?
Well, let's start with David Robertson, who said to me, I'm irritated and frustrated. How does that sound? He says right now he's in a stretch where he's just getting hit. He said, I'm either giving up a hit or I'm striking someone out. I'm not getting fly ball outs or ground outs. He said his stuff and velocity feel the same, but he also said he never remembers a patch like this at all last season. As for Joe Girardi, he says of Robertson, he's not a huge concern of mine. I think he'll be back to his form of last year soon. And in terms of Boone Logan, the former member of the Chicago White Sox, he was in for a third of an inning, got a strikeout of Mark Teahen yesterday. The big news was he hit 97 on the scoreboard gun, actually 98 on the Yankees gun, Michael and Al. He said when he got back to the dugout, his teammates were kidding him about the 97. They said, where's that been? He said, my velocity will come and go a little bit, but he's never before hit 97. As for doing it against the White Sox, he said, it felt good to say, look at me, I'm doing well.
Now, one final thing. As Paul Konerko walks, Mark Teahen bunts down the third baseline, hugging the line, but it kicks foul right in front of Kim, and Ramiro Pena grabs that baseball, and not Alex Rodriguez. Is this just a typical day off, Kim, or is it a little bit more than that?
It's a day off. He needed a day off physically, according to Joe. Alex has played all 23 games. Joe said he and Alex talked. They figured today was a good idea, and you mentioned it, Michael, because with yesterday's day game, tomorrow's night game, it's almost a 2-day break for Alex. At least that's how they look at it. He said Alex needs to get off his feet. He also has confidence in Ramiro Pena, but says you never like to take Alex out of the lineup. He is available to pinch hit.
Good stuff, Kim. We will see you on the post-game show.
Thank you, Michael.
All right, Kim. The 0-1 to Teahen. Fouls it off his foot. Count 0-2.
Talking about Boone Logan, boy, I remember him being a plus arm guy. And just talking to some of the people who cover the White Sox when he was there, they said they always loved his arm. And like any pitcher, it's about command and location with it and how specific he can be with getting in good counts. But to 97, 98 with an arm like that, I mentioned about Matt Thornton, who's been unbelievably good for the White Sox as their left-hand setup guy to Bobby Jenks, their closer. I mean, if that's somewhere in his arsenal and he can get ahead, a little power breaking ball, that could be a big plus for the Yankee bullpen.
Boone Logan was with the White Sox, and he came over as part of the Vasquez deal from Melky Cabrera. He was one of the people that came over from the Braves. And Joe Girardi said he remembered him pitching for the White Sox throwing very hard, and that's when he was a broadcaster for Yes. He said, I just remember everybody they brought in threw over 95 miles an hour. I said, so I'm not surprised he throws that hard.
Well, he was twice with Vasquez in the trade. He was also, Javi Vasquez and Logan was traded to the Braves for John Gilmore and Brent Lillibridge, along with Tyler Flowers. And then, as we know, most recently with Vasquez here to the Yankees. Couple changeups there. We're talking about the full arsenal of Phil Hughes. Fastball, slider, cutter, curve, and now a changeup. He's introducing that here second time around to this White Sox lineup.
1-2. Fouled away.
And even though you see how late that is, Michael, he threw the changeup before that. Posada called a little changeup in the dirt. You say, okay, how ineffective is that if it's in the dirt? But it speeds a guy up, or tries to. Now he has to be quicker because he just saw an 84-mile-an-hour changeup out of the hand. Looks like a fastball. Good location, outer third, up a little. Let's see what he does here. Curveball. Nope. Curveball, fastball in, fastball away. See, that's okay. He's got an idea in his mind, and this is the reason why there's signs. And, well, now he's going to changeup. Nothing worse than having a pitcher throw a pitch that he's not 100% convicted, even if it's the wrong pitch. You want, as your catcher, you want your guy to be behind it and believe in it. There's a changeup.
Swing and a miss. And that was the pitch. Although that wasn't a great changeup. I mean, he got him on the change of speed. It didn't go down like it should. But that was a pitch that got him into the rotation. It wasn't as if he pitched better than everybody that he was competing against.
Look at that beautiful that right there, Michael. The grip on the baseball slows the baseball on a fastball. And if you make it look just like a fastball with your arm speed, you're right about location-wise. But this is all won by him throwing the baseball. Look at the late movement there. That's a good pitch. Ideally, you want the ball knee-high, but it's also a pitch that you want them to go swing at. You don't want to throw another ball.
And again, that's the reason he's in the rotation, because they saw him throw that enough in spring training, and they felt that completes the arsenal.
Yep.
Gives somebody a different look, different speed.
And I'll tell you, it'll be fun to watch Phil Hughes all year, but if that's the arsenal that he has, very good fastball, plus fastball, very good curveball. Slider cutter combination, I think, has been lethal on the lefty especially. And now with the changeup, you're talking about an excellent year. Stay healthy.
Foul back by Carlos Quinton, and the count 0-2. Well, the number of pitches is the number on Phil Hughes' back, 65.
You talk about that changeup. Up to this point, he only threw, and they have autographs on this, less than 2% of his pitches before today's game. He's already thrown about 6 or 7. And how about this? Before last year, this year he's thrown almost 30% cutters, and in 07-08, he didn't even have a cutter. Talking about that complete repertoire that Phil Hughes has.
I guess if you spent 6 months every day sitting next to a great singer, you'd sing a little bit better. So he sat next to Mariano Rivera all those months. Must have picked up a cutter. How do you grip it? How do you throw it?
Every one of those guys should do that. It's a fantastic pitch, and also you can learn from the professor.
The 1-2. Just missed with the breaking ball.
Now that's the pitch that frustrated me as a pitcher. See the knuckle on the pitch there? It's a knuckle curveball. Mike Messina's throwing. AJ Burnett. Okay, it's a little up, but that's a hanger. That's a pitch that most hitters will drive. Why credit a hitter for not swinging at a pitch that he can hit out the ballpark? That's just the pitcher in me, Nickel. The high pitch as the strike zone has evolved over the years.
The 2-2 missed outside. Hal, you and I were down on the field, as I mentioned before, the game was very hot. Does that affect the pitcher?
If you can't get a grip, that would be the only reason.
How about fatigue?
It's not that hot. If it's 95 or better and it's really humid, no, it shouldn't. These guys are finely tuned professional athletes, and it shouldn't, unless you got one of those little fans there, cup holders. Plus, you're so into it, Michael. And now I'll tell you what, it's a factor if you have that 25-30 pitch in it, because that's a grind in anybody.
Dribbled slowly. Hughes will get Clinton, and that will do it. No runs, no hits, no errors, and 1 man left. We go to the bottom of the 4th inning here at Yankee Stadium. Yankees lead the White Sox 1-0. Date Smokers Quitline Quiz. 4 sets of current baseball teammates have played at least 10 consecutive years together. Who are they? Who are they? Jeter, Rivera, and Posada, Wakefield and Varitek, Konerko and Burley, and Oswalt and Berkman. Timms, deep fly ball, right field, going back, Kotze, track, wall, leaps, and he makes the play. Good play by Mark Kotze to take an extra base hit away from Marcus Timms.
Great play, good concentration right to the very end. Kotze, just a versatile outfielder, came up as a center fielder. Ooh, boy, just looked like a hit on the pinky part of the glove. Just outstanding concentration. He's got a track now. It's just a matter of whether he has enough room.
I don't know if it goes out, Al, but it definitely hits off the top of the wall. Mark Burley likes it. Mark Burley has had plays like that in more important games. Actually had a perfect game save by Dwayne Wise out in Chicago. I guess it was the second out of the 9th inning where Wise went up and took a home run away. And there's Kotze taking an extra base hit away, I would think.
Not only did Burley witness that, boy, that was an exciting, perfect game to watch, what you mentioned about Dwayne Wise, but Burley earlier this year, I think was part of the best play of the year. He may hold up. A play at first base and threw between his legs, and Konerko made an outstanding play and catch him bare hand. Won his first Gold Glove last year as a pitcher. First Chicago White Sox pitcher to win a Gold Glove since Jim Cott.
Count 2-2. We will show you Burley's play that Al's talking about in just a sec. And the count full. So the last thing he wants to do is put Gardner on. He's one pitch away from doing that. Gardner singled in the only run in the game. Single off the glove of Konerko. And that's where we stand at 1-0. The 3-2. That one's driven deep to right field. Kotze back, looking up. See ya! Brett Gardner goes yard. Yankees lead 2-0.
His 4th career home run. How about this? Can he hit lefties, base hits, doubles, leaves a fastball up over the plate? Burley did. Beautiful swing. Drives right through the baseball. His first home run this year. It's an extension, getting that ball out in front of the plate, finishing high.
And the count 0-1. I was asking Gardner about home runs the other day, Al. He said, you know what? I guess I could hit some home runs. He said, but that doesn't work for me. That's not what my game is about. I don't want to hit home runs.
Exactly.
But, 3-2 pitch, and Burley doesn't want to walk him. Well, it's Gardner's first home run since June 26th of last year, 167 at-bats ago, as Ramiro Pena goes down swinging. Let's take a look at the Coors Light cold hard blast off the bat of Brett Gardner.
Oh. Well, as you say, that he shouldn't think about hitting home runs. That's why you got Alex Rodriguez and Mark Teixeira and all these middle lineup guys. But you have a guy who throws a lot of strikes. He got the fastball up in the zone. He let it fly. They're smiling.
Jeter fouls it away.
Talking about Gardner hitting left-handers. That was his first career home run off a left-hander. He had 3 last year. Brand name guy, Mark Burley. Got a no-hitter and a perfect game in his career.
Jeter could not hold up. The count 1-2. Jeter today is 1 for 2, single to right in the first inning and grounded to short in the third. Gotten off to a nice start very quietly, 19 ribbies. And a ground ball to short, Alexei Ramirez. And that will do it here in the fourth. But one more run for the Yankees, and the same guy brought the run in. This time he one pitch, one out.
Just talking about Phil Hughes last inning, this really, to me, kind of did a little snapshot of where he's evolved. That's a changeup after a good fastball gets Tian out in front. And now the curveball here, this is a 3-2 pitch. To have the confidence in the pitch to throw it, he's got a 93, 94-mile-an-hour fastball. Carlos Quentin just nubbing it off the end of the bat. I just think those two pitches really just kind of a little synopsis of how he's emerging as a complete pitcher. And having trust and confidence in all of the pitches and throw it at any count. It's fun to watch as far as pitchers are concerned and what a good guy on the mound. You mentioned about Greinke. Pitchers with good stuff and are able to use all their pitches. It's usually a well-pitched game.
Driven out to right field. Nick Swisher drifts over. 2 out. There's Alex Rodriguez with a day off, drinking Al's beverage of choice.
That's sugar-free.
What's the difference?
Because that's stuff. That's fake. It's not sugar. Not fake.
Isn't it the caffeine in that concoction that works?
Yeah, but what's the non-sugar item?
Trident? Pitch to Juan Pierre is inside. Oh, you mean saccharin?
Yeah, yes.
Oh. I've been to the lighter school now for 23 years, and sometimes I don't know what you're talking about. 23 years I've been with you, and I just sometimes I don't get it. The non-sugar
The yellow
thing.
packets and the blue packets. What's that?
Equal.
Equal, yeah.
Sweet and low.
Right, yeah. That's not sugar.
1-1. Line drive over the leaping try of Jeter. A base hit for Juan Pierre. So he's 2 for 2, and he came into this game 1 for his last 22.
Well, as they say, the White Sox need him to be really that front-end guy. They had Scott Posednik here previously. Little line drive, staying with it, left field. He's just like Brett Gardner. He will run. He's a guy with the Marlins a few years ago, 60 stolen bases. Did a nice job with the Dodgers last year. You may give a pitch or two for Kotsay to shoot the hole on the right side with Johnson playing at the bag. We saw this yesterday with Brett Gardner. Jeter ended up walking, but there was a lot of this cat and mouse stuff, and Danks left a few pitches up. Derek fouled off a bunch and ended up walking because of it. But this is the kind of distraction that a good base runner does to the pitcher, sometimes leaving a pitch that the hitter could drive.
Runner goes, pitch out, throw to second, got him. Yankees guessed right now. Good throw by Posada. The tag by Canó, and Juan Pierre is out for the final out of the 5th inning. Head first slide, and a nice tag on the left hand as the Yankees essentially work a 1-2-3 inning. .39, Lou Gehrig benches himself, ending his streak of 2,130 consecutive games played, a streak that held until Cal Ripken Jr. broke it. We go to the bottom of the 5th inning. It is 2-0 Yankees. Nick Johnson leads off. And he grounds one to short, and Nick's struggles continue. So 1 away. Let's check in with Nancy Newman, and she has a scoreboard update. Nancy? Nagy Nancy, here is Mark Teixeira, takes a pitch low, 1-0. And he grounds one up the middle. They had him playing to pull. So 2 straight games, and Teixeira has multi-hit games. So the month of May, kinder to him than the month of April.
And he said to Kim Jones that he didn't know it was May, but I'll tell you, he's getting his hits here in May. Busting it out, as Michael said, look at how far Ramirez playing him to pull. The ball was a little floating pitch out over the plate. You know, I know it's, what'd you say? Yogi said 90% of the game's 50% mental?
90% of the game's half mental.
Half mental. He was right.
Here's Nick Swisher. And there's a strike. The Acela scoreboard is 2-0 Yankees. We're in the bottom of the 5th inning. Cloud cover over the stadium. There is some rain in the forecast for later on. Now, Nick Swisher had a home run in yesterday's game. And, you know, we talked about Ozzie Guillen and the fun part of Guillen. But sometimes his words are a little harsh and a little hurtful. And Nick Swisher, who has not hit very well at Yankee Stadium in these 2 years, although he's played very well for the Yankees overall, he had a home run and emphatically pumped his fist rounding first base. And Ozzie Guillen said, no, I didn't mind that. He said, I just wish that he would have played better for me. He said when he was here, he stunk. So, I mean, there's no editing valve on Ozzie at all. None. I can't picture Joe Girardi saying that about a player who left the Yankees.
Well, he's had some trouble with his own general manager, Kenny Williams, with his son, who was tweeting
on Twitter.
Yeah, and I guess Oni was his son, and they didn't want him around anymore. And Ozzie said, well, look, he's my son. He'll be allowed in the clubhouse. And had that little bit of tiff with Kenny Williams as to where his son could
Well,
hang
his son
out.
had worked with the White Sox.
Well, his son was working, right.
Mm-hmm.
I guess in video or something, which he no longer does.
Line drive, a base hit for Nick Swisher.
Nice hitting here. This is a changeup up in the zone. Brzezinski wants that ball down. Just good hitting, good level swing. Nice rope here. Ball up, driving through. He's got to feel good. He is good. Even though Ozzie says it insults a lot of people and it's just the way he is. Anytime you get your old team and that you're trying to purposely throw it in their face, but you know, it feels good to do well against a team that got rid of you.
So here's Canó with 2 outs, and in this situation last time, Burley walked Canó on 4 pitches and then dealt with Posada. Now there's just 1 out. Canó 7 for 23 with runners in scoring position so far this year. He fouls that first pitch off.
Boy, oh boy, Michael, just as you're saying that, and Burley just kind of gave a big sigh. That ball was right down the middle. And I have to believe, again, you got to know who your hot guys. Watch where this pitch ends up. Boom. I mean, that is, he throws that again. That's going to be a right field seats. And Burley knew it, just shaking, and it's not where he wants it against one of the best hitters in the game.
Tied him up. Did he check his swing? No, he did not, said Mark Wegner.
Well, Robinson didn't like it. Let's see here. Still don't know what the exact rule is. Commitment to swing. Break the wrist, in front of the plate.
Drill deep to right field. Did he get enough? Oh, he got enough. See ya. A 3-run home run. Robinson Canó. His 9th of the year. And the Yankees lead 5-0. Made the mistake again. This time, Canó made him pay, Al.
Well, he's got 9 home runs, 6 of them off left-handers. This is a little breaking ball going down and away. It's an 0-2 pitch. When you got a guy as hot as Robinson Canó, just unbelievable swing, was able to get the barrel on the bat. 9 home runs. Very impressive with the 9, 6 of them against the left-hander. Just is so locked in right now, Robinson.
Now you'll hear this on the WB Mason Presents the Joe Girardi show after the game. See how that ball traveled, and I asked Joe, why has he taken this next step to another level? He said he thinks it started 2 years ago when he had a bad year in 2008. Made him rededicate himself, made him realize that it's not an easy game. And he said he's got a purpose. He's so driven now. He said, I really think his failures of 2008 pushed him to his success now as Posada picks up a hit.
Well, I mean, that's really good insight, because that's part of learning as a major league player. When things go smoothly all the time, and then when you finally hit that bump in the road, how do you handle it? What is your approach? Do you change the way you do things? Is your plan and your program and routine modified? All of that stuff goes into it. And he's always had, everybody in baseball has marveled at his abilities. And the abilities, and physical abilities, and your mind gets right, and you have a good plan and a program. This is the result.
Well, here's Don Cooper, the pitching coach. You see Tony Pena warming up. And that's going to bring up Marcus Timms when Cooper's done with his conference.
Well, let's take a look at that Home Depot scatter report. Well, hot. We're talking about his hot start. 550 going into this game. He's been very good against left-handers. And welcome to the bigs. How neat was this for him? His first at bat in June of 2002 off of the future Hall of Famer Randy Johnson. He had a 2-run homer here at Yankee Stadium.
That one's driven deep to left, but foul. Yankee fans are going to see a lot of Timms with the injury to Granderson. Timms actually came into spring training as a non-roster player this year. Made the team. Rip foul. Yeah, they call the heart of the order 3, 4, 5, sometimes 6. Well, 3 through 6 today. The Yankee hitters were 7 for 11 with a walk, and they are leading 5-0. Well, this guy, as good a pitcher as he is, has not fared well against the Yanks. In 10 starts, 1-6, 6.43 coming into today. And it's also a little strange. You wonder what's up with him. In his first 2 starts of the year, 2-0, 2.40. And I'll mention this in the scouting report, 3-0, or 0-3 in the last 3 starts, 6.62. So it's kind of all unraveled for him.
Well, you know what? You could go back to that perfect game, and his numbers have not been good, or nearly as good as they were prior to that perfect game. And I don't know whether it took a toll on it. He ended up having 2 consecutive games there where he threw a lot of pitches. Had a no-hitter right after that in the 7th inning. And I mean, it's really stark, his numbers of how they've gone down since that perfect game.
Popped up. Alexei Ramirez waving everybody off. And it drops in. And Posada got into second. He kept waving everybody off, waving off Pierre, and then he didn't make the play. So a base hit for Timms.
Well, as that ball just kept drifting out, I got to believe that Pierre, I don't know where Juan Pierre was. That ball almost just looks like a shallow ball to left field.
Well, Pierre stopped Al because Alexei Ramirez was furiously waving everybody off.
Well, infielders are taught to go out aggressively until they hear the outfielder who's coming in, which is the easier catch, to call them off. And as we saw, Jorge just busted in there. Ooh. Barely made it.
E6, so it's not a base hit for Timms. And there's a strike to Gardner. Now, Al mentioned since Burley's perfect game, he has been far from perfect. And sometimes it affects you that way. After David Cohn's perfect game in '99, he was 2-5 with a 4.82 ERA.
bullpen. And same with Burley, that July 23rd game we're talking about last year where he had the perfect game. Since then, he's 4-10 with a 6.72 ERA.
Wow. Don Cooper has to try to figure it out. Gardner pops it up. And the catch is made by Beckham. You know, we promised this, and the way things are going, he might not be in that long. So this is April 5th.
When this happened, that's right, off of his heels. It was a kick save and a butte through his leg. Now watch Canerco. I think this is going to hold up as the best play of the year. That's right. It was a ball up the middle. He kicked it with his heel, as we just saw the end there, rolling in foul territory.
Well, we just got it in. We figured we better play it right away, and now he's gone. Flipped the ball to Ozzie Guillen, and Guillen almost dropped it, but has not been a good day for Burley. AT&T, a better 3G experience. Mark Burley, 4 2/3, 10 hits, 5 runs. The 2 runners on base, his responsibility. 93 pitches, 1 walk, and 3 strikeouts. Victimized by that 3-run home run by Canó. That turns the whole specter of the game. Also a home run by Brett Gardner and an RBI single. That was the damage. Here is Tony Pena. 7 games, 10 2/3. 8 walks. And it'll be Pena against Pena. Here is Ramiro Pena. 0-1. Al, you know, we always talk about the unwritten rules in baseball. When Ozzie Guillen came out to get the ball from Burley, he kind of flipped it at him. I'd say a lot of the guys that you pitch for would not have dug that. Lou and Billy.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, you just have meetings at spring training, and managers would actually tell you how they want the ball.
That one is driven out to left field, and that's going to do it as Pena gets Pena. Well, the damage in this inning was off the bat of Robinson Cano. He crushed it into the seats and right. A 3-run shot, his 9th to WB Mason Presents the Joe Girardi Show, and after, there's more off-the-field fun and surprises on the season premiere of the Emmy-winning Yankees on Deck, presented by Tops Attacks. It's all today after the postgame, only on Yes. So we go to the 6th inning. Phil Hughes now has a lot of operating room. Mark Kotsay leads off, the count 1-0. Line drive, a base hit to right. All right, Al, now you interpret this. This is how Burley gave the ball to Ozzie Guillen.
Okay, but ooh, and then a flick too, and he realized, if that falls on the ground. We said at the end of the inning, there's certain managers. It's a sign of disrespect if you flip a ball up in the air, especially if he drops it. We don't know the relationship here, and I'm sure there's not a problem. You see Ozzie did the little pat on the butt. But I forget who the manager was, but we'd have a meeting and said, look, I want you to place the ball in my hand.
Oh, really? You actually had a discussion about that?
I'm trying to think of which manager it was. There's no pitcher after giving up 5 runs and not doing your job. You obviously don't feel good about it. But the last thing a manager wants to do is have to pick up a ball off the ground. Or worse, when David Wells in Toronto threw the ball down the left field line when Cito Gaston came out.
That's a little extreme.
Yeah, that was extreme. That happened.
He actually threw the ball down the left field.
Well, because I think what happened was Boomer thought that Cito left him in too long. I mean, it was a bloodbath.
So you should have thrown the ball on River Avenue when Dallas Green had you go 160.
Well, no, the game was over. I couldn't. so Cito came out. This was at Toronto, and Boomer threw the ball down the line.
Really?
Yeah, it wasn't good.
What did Cito do?
There was
popped up first base side, long run. Makes the seats.
Well, next spring, Boomer was let go. He played out that year, and in the spring, the Blue Jays just let him go. They basically released him.
But they didn't say anything.
Do you remember
right
that?
after?
Boomer was still a young player.
Yeah.
He was let go. He was in late 20s, and the Tigers picked him up.
But what did he do that day?
There was a considerable powwow in Cito's office, and I'm sure it included the general manager and the president of the club.
The 0-2, strike 3. Beckham, who was having a tough series, 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts yesterday, 0 for 5 with 3 strikeouts.
Ooh, so he's up to, 7 strikeouts for the series. Just locking up. He's caught in between, and you see the frustration on Beckham. This ball, the Yankee pitchers have been just going right at him. This is a perfect paint fastball on the inside part of the plate.
He did have 2 hits on Friday, but another strikeout as well, so Al's right, 7 strikeouts in the series. Runner at first, here's Andrew Jones. Foul back. Hey, by the way, the home run by Canó was his 9th, and we've mentioned that. Well, if you want to compare, last year he finished with a career-high 25 home runs. He did not hit his 9th home run last year until May 27th. So he's 25 days ahead of that pace.
About 45 home run pace.
Let's see. Well,
5th of the season, maybe?
Let's see. This is game 24. He's second in the American League in home runs behind Konerko. So 24 games and not even a 6th of the season. Up the middle, and Canó grabs it, knocks it down, flips to second, gets him.
What a great play for him to not give up. Now, that looked like a line drive, surely to the outfield. I'm not sure what Mark Kotsay was doing, whether he thought that was closer to Canó, because he was not even close. This is a line drive up the middle. He just didn't get the ball. Was just hit too hard for Kotsay to get even close. Let's see what he's doing here. No, he held up. Kotsay was holding there.
Why? He thought the ball could be caught in the air?
I guess. I'm not sure. It would have been a much closer play, but I still believe that Canó would have gotten him.
And answer your question, Al, Canó is on pace for 61 home runs. That's just on pace. He could get hot and get to 70. Konerko's 0 for 1 with a walk. And a strike. Swing and a miss, and a count 0-2.
Good fastball slider combination. Look, 86 pitch count. His last start, he put 109 pitches. What an Oakland was stellar. 7 1/3, 101. It's this pitch. See what happens here with Konerko. He got a shot to go 7 innings here.
The 0-2 outside. On his 87th pitch out, he threw 95 miles an hour.
Just be fun to watch Phil Hughes progress as this season goes along and as his career goes along. He really has the arsenal of front-end stuff.
Go 1-2. And you see Posada's okay, settle down. Might be overthrowing and the count 2-2.
Yeah, anytime a ball hooks the way he does, and Phil Hughes hides the ball well. He's got a little bit of a close. He kind of pauses slightly and comes across a little low three-quarter arm delivery, kind of a cross shoot. Really makes it that much more effective by hiding the baseball longer, so a hitter can't pick it up right out of your hand. Well, you see the way Phil Hughes reacted. This ball is corner paint. Well, the guy that mattered most, Dan Iasonia, did not think so. Now, as quickly you get back on there, you don't want to show up an umpire.
This will be the 90th pitch for Hughes. Runner goes, 3-2, swung on and missed. Looks like a little bit of a slider or a cutter. And he gets out, Paul Konerko. No runs, a hit, no errors, and one man left. 58772. And here's how you voted. 53% say baseball. Boy, I think it's really hard in baseball. It's hard in horse racing as well. 47% say horse racing. Now, Calvin Burrell, the jockey on Super Saver, actually said before the race, this horse will win the Triple Crown this year.
Before the race?
Yep.
Wow.
5-0. How about Calvin Burrell? He's won 3 of the last 4 Kentucky Derbies.
He's the jockey?
Yeah. No, it's Calvin Burrell, the horse.
Good in the trainer? With the owner?
Right. Todd Pletcher was the trainer.
I know Mr. Ed was just a TV show.
The 1-1. Dribbled slowly to third. Going to be a very tough play, and there's not going to be a play. A base hit for Jeter, his second of the day.
It's a little nubber out in front, and as Derek Jeter does so often, he's just hoping that he can beat this ball out. Team coming up, not able to get the handle on it. Well, it's not always how hard you hit it, it's where you hit it. They say it evens out, depends on which side you're on.
Well, here's Nick Johnson. He wants it to start evening out. He's 0 for 3. 2 for his last 25, hitting 129. And he keeps hitting the ball hard, but right at people. He hits into a double play. What a play by Ramirez. The ball almost knocked him down. Johnson hit it so hard, but it's a 6-4-3 double play.
Boy, now this is a perfect little snapshot of why baseball, there's no rhyme or reason sometimes. Derek Jeter off the end of the bat, dribbles in front of third base, gets a hit. Here, this is a ball you can't hit any harder. Alexi Ramirez, watch this here. Boom! And if you're Nick Johnson, you're saying, okay, I know I hit it hard, but it's still an out. You got to keep pressing.
I said he was 2 for his last 25 with the 0 for 3 day. Now he's 0 for 4. But I didn't give him credit for some offers before that. He's now 2 for his last 34. Now, I had asked Kevin Long, is Nick, who has a history of taking pitches, taking too many pitches? Is he taking pitches that he could drive? He said, you know what, that's kind of not fair to say. He said, you know, that's how he does it. And when he's going well, they go, wow, look how many pitches he takes. And Mark Teixeira likes May. Picks up his 3rd hit.
Okay, look what we just saw here. Mark Teixeira now getting these hits falling in. As we talk about Nick Swisher, or Nick Johnson, the Yankees know that he's a better than 136 hitter coming into today. Hits the ball hard. Now here in the same situation. Derek Jeter, he's out in front. Puts a little pass at it, but a little bloop. 30 love serve over there in right field. And this is the scenario in which how it's hard. And it becomes mental for players when you're not getting the results. And you just keep pressing on. Because there's no other alternative. And you got to maintain that positive attitude. Or it'll continue to spiral into where you're trying different things as a hitter or a pitcher's changing arm angles. You mentioned earlier in the game about Kevin Long, you know, just to see the ball hit the ball. You know, you get too mechanical. You look at video to the finest nth degree. Sometimes just trying to simplify it at its core is the best way to get out of slumps. I mean, definitely, you want to try to identify something. If it's glaring, you know, I know, like as a pitcher, you don't even realize all of a sudden your arm dropped or you're really flying open or something that you can really see. In most cases, it's so minute, the difference between being locked in or not.
Nick Swisher hits one deep to right. Kotsay back, looking up. See ya! 2-run home run. Nick Swisher, and the Yankees lead 7-0. So Nick Swisher, a home run yesterday. Now he has a home run today. He had been struggling at Yankee Stadium. He had 29 home runs last year. On the season, only 8 of them here at the stadium.
Wow, that was his first home run yesterday at the stadium for the year. Now, this ball up in the plate, you talk about a great day against his old team, 3 for 4. He knew as soon as he hit it, that was an excellent swing, finishing high. 4 home runs on the year for Nick.
Nick Swisher's 4th home run of the year. He has 3 hits today. He has 15 ribbies on the season. He was red hot in Baltimore, and he loves hitting in Camden Yards. He averages a home run every 7 at-bats in Camden Yards. I said it just feels good in the batter's box there. He's starting to feel good here at the stadium. He did not hit his 2nd home run at Yankee Stadium until June 7th of last year. So he's more than a month ahead of schedule. So with Alex Rodriguez out, Joe Girardi decided to bat Nick Swisher 4th, and certainly is paying off with 2 ribbies, 3 hits, 2 runs scored. Canó, 2 more hits today, a home run. And he dribbles that one slowly to Konerko, who will flip to Pena, and that will do it. But the Yankees get 2 runs on 3 hits, no errors, and nobody left. Nobody left because Nick Swisher. Champions bat, courtesy of Bank of America. For tickets, log on to Yankees.com. Visit the Yankee Stadium ticket window, Yankees clubhouse shops, or call Ticketmaster at 877-469-9849. And the pitch to Martin is a strike. Bobby Bacala, Steve Sharippa, wiping some sweat off on a hot day, seeing what's he ordering next. He's in the special seats right now, the legend seats. Have you ever spent a game in the legend seats out?
No, but I would like to.
Why don't we do it, both of us together? Day off, maybe like a Fox game on Saturday.
You've got the connections.
On the Verizon Wireless scoreboard, it's 7-0 as Tian taps it back to Phil Hughes, and there's one away.
This Friday, she's a rapper, an actress, a producer, and a businesswoman. Now, Queen Latifah sits down for a new GMC Presents Center Stage with Michael K. From rags to riches and albums to Oscar nominations, the Queen covers it all in an all-new Center Stage. Friday night at 11, only on Yes.
Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
She was great.
The best.
She was such a great guest. People will love this show. Not because of me, because of her. She was great.
You love them all, aren't they? It's a good show.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Really?
Here's Carlos Quentin. You know who we're taping on Tuesday? We have a double that we're taping. Lindsey Vonn, gold medalist, and
Bruce.
No. Well, he lived in Jersey for a while, this guy. Mike Tyson.
Ooh.
Your eyes lit up because you want him to hit me, I can tell.
You better be careful with him. Better answer. I know you ask tough questions.
Well, they got the All-Star ballot out. It's in Anaheim this year. And Joe Girardi's going to be the manager.
And they added another player.
Mm-hmm.
The 34 players.
And they also allow you to bring a player back that's already been in the game if somebody's injured.
I like that.
Popped up. Nick Johnson. 2 outs. Let's get another scoreboard update from Nancy Newman back in our Yes Network studios. That would be a shocker. Wow. The Red Sox are in some trouble right now. Their offense isn't that good. When they get offense, they're not getting pitching. But the way the Orioles played against the Yankees, they did win the first game, but they were 4-16 coming into the Red Sox series. And for them to sweep the Red Sox, that would be startling. There's a strike to Przinsky.
Back it on the mound, trying to right his ship. 2-1 in the 6th.
Those are the standings. All 3 teams lost yesterday, so the Yankees a game and a half out, the Red Sox 6 out, and the Blue Jays 5.5. That one is a fly ball to right field. Nick Swisher is there, and he puts it away for the final out of the 7th, and Phil Hughes did that on just 8 pitches in the 7th. And a happy fan who gets a souvenir. Yankees are leading 7. We're asking you to vote along with us for the Chevy Player of the Game. Text your vote to 58772 or vote online at yesnetwork.com. Tonight's candidates are number 1, Canó, number 2, Gardner, number 3, Hughes, number 4, Swisher. Vote now, make your voice heard. Standard text messaging rates apply. So we go to the bottom of the 7th inning. I believe in the last 2 innings, Al, Phil Hughes has retired the side a total of 17 pitches, so becoming quite economical as the game moves on, as Posada fouls it away. Or you wonder, down 7-0, are the White Sox saying, okay, let's just get out of Dodge?
No.
And they realize they're not hitting Hughes anyway.
You know what I see is that Hughes the entire day has been throwing a lot of strikes and be getting ahead. And because of that, a lot of times, first time around the lineup, they're going to kind of see release point and what's working. Everything's been working.
And over the last 3 innings, Al, he's used just 29 pitches.
I think it's more of a product of him showing the White Sox hitters that he's aggressive, he's pounding the zone, he's throwing strikes, he's getting ahead.
There's Boone Logan. Yankee bullpen a little short today because of overusage yesterday. Javi Vasquez didn't get an out in the 4th inning, so that's why they called up Melanson to replace the injured Granderson.
Yeah, with Mitre and Aceves being told that they'll have a day off because of pitch count.
I also think that they want to give Damaso Marte a day off as well. The 1-2. Count 2-2. So the Yankees, what they've been doing this whole season, except for those 3 games in Anaheim, they're winning series. And when you knock the series off the schedule and you won that series, things are going to go well for you that year. That's a simple equation, obviously. They've won 7 series. They've lost 1. And I believe this would be their 8th. If they can hold on to this 7-0 lead, then the Orioles come into town. So they're doing it, and they're doing it, I don't think, Al, with optimum performance by important people. Up until the last 2 days, Mark Teixeira hasn't hit. Alex Rodriguez has just 2 home runs. That's the lowest home run output for a month for him of over 70 at-bats ever. Nick Johnson has been almost invisible. Curtis Granderson, before he got hurt, was really, really struggling. And the Yankee bullpen, other than Rivera, has not been what they expected.
Jabba is coming along.
Okay, but he's had his moments as well. So I think that when you factor all of that in and you say, wow, the Yankees could be 16-8 after today, that's pretty good. Yeah. I mean, that's really, you have to look at it that way as well.
Well, you're exactly right. Look, this is what the Yankees have been able to do. I mean, the lineup has been devastating. Even if they're not scoring, yesterday it reminds me that John Danks ended up going to 117 pitches, 5 innings. They only gave up 2 runs. You say, well, okay, with the added amount of pitch count, there have been a lot of runs. Even when they're not getting their hits, Michael, they grind out at bats.
Like this one.
So many, 7, 8, 9 pitch at bats. And not many teams in baseball. Look, if you're going to spend your payroll, you're going to go for a big bat and some front end starting and a closer. There's the loin of a lot of the problems with many teams would be that middle relief. Maybe a club has a good setup guy. And I think really that is one of the attributes, many of the attributes that the Yankee lineup does, is that they wear out starting rotation.
And wear out pitchers with a bat like that. Posada rips one into the gap, and it's going to roll to the wall, and Posada will get himself a double. So Posada was 0 for his first 2 today, giving him a 3 for 26. But now he's 2 for his last 2, so maybe he's coming out of it.
Well, that second at bat, he lined out to the left field just to smoke the ball. And last at bat, little base hit. And this again, nice swing, really coming through. You talk about turning around or getting hot. I think Posada's right on the precipice of that. And you go back to that second at bat with the changeup that was up in the zone and to end the 3rd inning.
There's Marcus Timms against the right-hander. And there's a ground ball to short. Alexei Ramirez. And there's one away as Posada stays at second. Hey, traveling this season? Take the Yankees with you. Subscribe to MLB.tv today to see every Yankees game live or on demand on your computer. Visit Yankees.com to order and get more details. MLB.tv, baseball everywhere.
And also think what's exciting seeing the emergence of Gardner. I think what he's providing now, and now with Girardi feeling much more comfortable not having to do the replacement with a tough left-hander or any left-hander. Keep him in there, getting more consistent at bats.
And the pitch to Gardner is a strike.
Because a guy like Gardner with speed, where it's really, I think speed keeps you out of slumps, but what he does, what he'll do when you have that front-end starter who's pitching a gem, you get a guy like Gardner on, and the combination with Jeter, moving runners, stealing, hit-and-run opportunities. Those are the kind of innings you need to really force and push a run, create runs. It's great waiting for the 3-run homer, but it doesn't always happen every night, especially when you're matched up against a quality front-end starter.
The 1-1 with a breaking ball, sort of a slider, and the count 2-1.
Well, their bullpen has been, well, Ozzy's got a problem here with, well, the home plate umpire has a problem with Brzezinski. Now, normally if a catcher doesn't turn around and make it obvious, well, he's going to get an earful here from Ozzy. Then Sonia obviously didn't like what Brzezinski was saying. He let him know.
I guess what Ozzy was saying, hey, listen, he can say whatever he wants. He's not showing you up. He didn't turn around, and now Ozzy gets thrown out. And now there's a good chance Ozzy's going to get his money's worth.
Well, let's see what Brzezinski has a problem with here. Well, now Brzezinski pulled the glove back. Now you see the conversation here. Now he's turning around. Oh, okay.
And now Ozzy's getting warmed up. His team has not played well. He's seen the Central maybe slip away with the Tigers and the Twins playing such good baseball. And now he's on the precipice of losing 2 out of 3 to the Yankees. And maybe he's just trying to fire up his team. But he came out to protect Brzezinski, who gets a little chatty. And he ended up getting thrown out by the home plate umpire, Dan Iasonia.
Well, now here, the crew chief, Dale Scott, standing next to him. Normally they'll deflect any of the conversation to have Ozzy go away so nothing gets more severe.
So Guillen gets tossed. And Joey Cora, his bench coach, will manage the final couple of innings. So now the count 2-1 on Gardner. 21st time in his career that Guillen has been thrown out of a game. Still has a long way to go to catch Bobby Cox. And the count 3-1.
Watch where he pulls his glove back. At any time that you see a catcher pull his glove back over the zone, obviously the catcher thinks that it wasn't on the plate. So right there, something that was said from Brzezinski to incite Dan Iasonia to tell him to cool.
And now Gardner ends up walking.
Yeah, he wanted to stay into it. I think from looking at that, Dan Iasonia probably was getting a lot from Brzezinski, because I didn't see Brzezinski provoking anything. He didn't turn to him. The home plate umpire absolutely wanted to let Brzezinski know. All right, well, now there goes Ozzy.
Here's Ramiro Pena. There's a ground ball to second. There's one. And he drops the ball. Everybody's safe.
Would have been a very nice play here. He does it out of the glove. He wasn't able to make a transfer. Ramiro is just not getting the ball, thinking double play as opposed to making sure you get the out. See the quick movement of his glove, like he took a helmet or a back to his quad.
That's got to be an E6, and it is. And the second baseman, Beckham, actually does get an assist because he executed his part of the play. So the base is loaded for the Yankees. And here is Jeter as they try to improve on their 7-0 lead. And now Don Cooper, the pitching coach, will come out and talk with Pena and probably take him out. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the New York Yankees and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the New York Yankees. So I don't think he signaled at this point. There's a left-hander warming in the bullpen. They have two lefties. That one's Randy Williams. We saw him yesterday, so Don Cooper is going to leave Tony Pena in. Now, Don Cooper also has something to say to Iasonia as he walks off. And Iasonia doesn't seem like he's one of those umpires that's just going to let it go. He stays engaged rather than just ignoring. Now, when I saw that Dan Iasonia was catching today, Al, I wanted to see how he did against you.
Yeah.
Well, when you pitched, when he was upping, I said catching. 2 starts you made with Iasonia behind the plate, 1-0, 2.57.
Really?
Yeah.
He looks like he's got a tight zone. I would think. I didn't see any calls today where he had an expanded zone.
1-0, 2.57.
Dan's a great guy.
Jeter 2 for 4. Yankees lead 7-0. And a count 1-1. Yankees with 14 hits. The White Sox with 4 hits and 2 errors. The count is now 3-0. Not 2-1. Now it's correct. 3-0. So this game doesn't look great for the White Sox as it is. If more runs score, you don't like their chances. So now 3-0 on Jeter. And the pitch from Pena. Pours a fastball strike over the plate. Now Jeter will be swinging. Punches it out toward right field. Kotze on the run, slides and can't make the play. It is a foul ball, though. Kotze's had an eventful couple of days out there in right.
Well, let's see if he gets the pad here. Well, it's a knee right into that pad, as thick as it is. Obviously going real hard. It can't feel good.
Now watch Jeter. He did this yesterday. He's doing the reverse Fisk. But it doesn't work. It worked for Fisk in the World Series in '75 against the Reds. Game 6, it does not work here for Jeter in game 24 of the season. (3-2), and he walked him. That'll force in a run. An RBI for Jeter. Coming home is Posada, and the Yankees lead 8-0. So Posada touches up, and Don Cooper comes out, and Tony Pena is going to come with him. And with the lefty Nick Johnson due up, it's going to be the left-hander Randy Williams. Nick Johnson needs a hit in a big way. He goes over things with Kevin Long. We'll go over things with you when we get back. Stay right here.
Kizashi. You know, it's somewhat benign, but here Tony Pena, bases loaded, obviously having to go right after him. Slider away, misses again. Now he's going to keyhole him. That ball runs in on his hands, 3-0. Takes that pitch. Now this is a pitch that he fought off. He hoped that stayed fair. And then he throws a 3-2 slider at the bases loaded. That was it for Tony Pena. Nice at bat by Derek Jeter.
So here's Nick Johnson. Nick is 0 for 4. And Randy Williams deals outside 1-0.
A lot of walks for Randy Williams. He's a specialty guy, getting left-handers out. Look at the 15 walks in 10 innings. 26 base runners in 10 innings. That's not good.
There's a strike. You know, I said before, and I should correct myself, that the Yankees have won 7 series. This would be their 7th series that they won out of 8 series on the schedule. So I apologize for that. This would be their 7th. If they hold on, the 1-1. Nick is seeking his first RBI since April 17th.
He's should get a good pitch to drive here. Bases loaded, 2-1 count, fastball count.
Count 2-2.
Just caught in between there. That ball, the 2-1 fastball. And he's really a spray gap-to-gap guy. And I think he caught a little bit between spinning and going right field, right center, as opposed to natural swing. Left center, right center. Ball away, hit it away.
The 2-2. Lofted into left center field. Is that going to reach grass? Yes, it does. It dunks in for a base hit. Nick Johnson gets himself a double, gets 2 RBIs. Boy, did he need that, and the Yankees lead 10-0.
Michael said that this would be his first RBI since April 17th. Gets looked like a little breaking ball or something, but he stayed inside enough, kept his hands in, driving that ball right in front of Juan Pierre, in between Juan Pierre and Andrew Jones. 2 RBIs for a guy who really is feeling it, needing it. 7 RBIs for the year.
Here's Mark Teixeira with the infield in, and the breaking ball is a strike. With that hit, Johnson now has his first multi-RBI game of the season. Teixeira 3 for 4. He has the average up to 180.
Sometimes that's all it takes to get out of a slump, a little blooper, or some kind of CNI single, get a couple RBIs, feel good about yourself. Want to be part of the party here. Now the Yankees up 10-0.
They have Mark Melancon up in the bullpen. Just called him up today to replace the injured Granderson on the roster. Hot shot. Base hit down the left field line. 2 more runs will score. It's Teixeira's 4th hit of the afternoon, and the Yankees are pouring it on. They lead 12-0.
Wow, what a day for Mark Teixeira. May Day sure is. Staying inside the line, get a little breaking ball, something off speed up in the zone, drive it in. Jeter certainly knows Johnson. There's the captain, making him feel good.
Well, Nick's had very few reasons to smile. He really did need that hit. So they have him at first base today, and after 0 for 4 start, he picks up a 2-run double. Here's Nick Swisher, and Nick with 3 hits today. Strike. Teixeira's 4 hits. That actually ties a career high. He's done it 18 times. Count 1-1. Nick's had 5 RBIs over the last 2 days. That got a piece of Robbie Thompson. Boy, did that get on him in a hurry. That's why the coaches wear those helmets. And that's mandated by Major League Baseball. That was a hot shot. Robbie has quick hands, too.
A little one-hopper. You see where Robbie Thompson, Kim Jones did an excellent report with him about where he stands and what his job is. Real close to home plate. He's runner at second base. He's obviously closer to home, less than 90 feet. Think of some of those big right-handed hitters driving that ball down the line. Heads up, Robbie. Gary Sheffield used to hook some stuff over there. Larry Bowe was here. He'd stand out way in left field.
2-2. And the count 3-2.
This is where the Yankee hitters, you talk about, you hear guys say, what was I thinking, what was my plan, just threw away at bats. Very seldom, if ever, I'd see a Yankee hitter give away an at bat. You got 12-0. You got a pitcher obviously struggling. The game's out of hand. Still take their pitches. Don't do any favors swinging balls out of the zone. Just every pitch is a battle.
Here's Robinson Cano. 2 more hits, a double, a 3-run home run. That really turned this game in the Yankees' favor. It was 2-0. Pitchers duel. Hughes against Burley. Then Burley served up that 0-2 pitch that Cano crushed into the right field seats. That was in the 5th inning, a 3-run home run. The Yankees have not looked back. So 1 in the 2nd for the Yanks, 1 in the 4th, 3 in the 5th, 2 in the 6th, and 5 in already here in the 7th. All of that adds up to 12-0. And over the first 7, Phil Hughes pitching a 4-hit shutout. Cano, the number 9 batter to come to this plate. So the Yankees have batted around. And Sergio Santos warming for the White Sox. Cano hitting .391 with 9 homers and 21 runs batted in, an on-base percentage of .437, a slugging percentage of .772. He has 36 hits. He scored 23 runs. He's actually walked 8 times as well, and 2 stolen bases.
That's really good. Best batting average in baseball. Martin Prado of the Braves leading the National League coming into today, 368. Cano pushing back on that 400 mark.
The 1-2. Now the 12 runs the Yankees have scored, that's a season high for them.
Makes him happy, Michael?
Yep. He's always happy, though.
Yeah, he is.
Hard worker, good guy, positive. Breaking ball with no bite. Crowd oohs and ahs, but that certainly wasn't on purpose.
Big old curveball. Get the bat out of the way, too. How many times do you see that over the years in baseball? A guy ducking out of the way, gets a foul ball out of it, hits the bat.
The 2-2. Swing and miss. So Cano down on strikes. And the guy who started it all, Jorge Posada, with a double to right center. He comes up for the second time in the inning. So with his 2 for 4, he has the average back over 300. Yankees lead 12-0. It's just the second time this year they've had a double-digit run output. Other time was 10 runs, April 10th at Tampa Bay. Strike. There's a strike. This half inning started at 3:19, and it is now 3:45.
A guy who averaged a little over 2.5 hour starts.
That's 26 minutes so far coming into this at bat. So Phil Hughes is not going to pitch the 8th inning. He puts away a nice 7-inning outing, and looks like he's going to go to 3-0 unless the White Sox rally.
When I said that 2.5 hours, that's Mark Burley. 2 hours and 24 minutes he averaged this year. His game start.
Breaking ball, strike 3. So the Yankees send 10 batters to the plate, and they end up scoring 5 runs. 2 of the big blows, Nick Johnson. Music and computer world, and by Toyota, the official hybrid vehicle of the New York Yankees. Well, Phil Hughes pitched 7 shutout innings, allowing just 4 runs. And now Mark Melancon, who was called up today, comes in. Yankees would like him to pitch these 2 innings. That's what he did last year up at the big league level. Now with AAA this season, in 10 relief appearances, 3-0, 1.76, 15 1/3, 15 strikeouts, and 13 hits. Yankees like Melancon. and they think he could be a decent arm out of the bullpen.
Well, with those numbers, certainly deserving of the call-up. See how long his stay will be. But any time a young pitcher get an opportunity, Michael, every single bat is precious.
Jason Nix is pinch hitting for Alexi Ramirez. Yankees have also made some position changes. Francisco Cervelli has come in to play third base. And Ramiro Pena, as Francisco, has moved from third to short. So Derek Jeter gets the rest of the day off. And Alexi Ramirez thinking about an awful day in New York.
Well, Francisco Cervelli's been practicing over there with Alex Rodriguez, and in a game like today, why not? This is his first game at third base. Just being that much more versatile, any opportunity that you can help the team. I'm sure it's got to be fun for him over there right now. Oh.
Oh. 12-16-0, leading 0-4-2.
The hot corner, first time.
One of the questions the Yankees have over this next week is you have the 3 games against the Orioles. Thursday is an off day. And then Friday, they start a 3-game set against the Boston Red Sox. And Javier Vasquez, if they hold according to schedule, as Nix looks at a called third strike, a breaking ball. Finish that up in just a second. Tomorrow's starting pitchers brought to you by Fios TV, Internet, and Phone. This is Beyond Cable. This is Fios. Jeremy Guthrie, he of the uncontrollable pitches, will go up against CC Sabathia. 0-3 is Guthrie, 4.70. Sabathia 3-1, 3.12. Coverage begins at 6 with the BP show. 6:30 is a pregame, and 7:07 would be first pitch. Now, the decision the Yankees have to make is the off day affords them the opportunity to skip over Javi Vasquez if they want to do that. And you'll hear this on WB Mason Presents the Joe Girardi Show after the postgame show. I asked Joe, he said they're not really thinking about it at this point. They have to think about the 3 games against the Orioles first. Love Joe, but I think he's thinking about it. And I'm sure that that's something that's being considered. Do you think that is a good thing or a bad thing if they did that, Al? Because let's look at the positives and negatives. The positives, if you skip him, maybe he clears his head, works things out in the bullpen. The negatives, he feels, wow, you're skipping me over for the Red Sox game, and do you really believe in me? What would you do?
I would skip him, and it's you know how I feel about Vasquez. I still think he's going to turn it around. I think he's going to have a good year for the Yankees. I love his stuff. His command has been off. He's got plenty to be more than adequate.
Marcus Timms will put away Juan Pierre.
I just think right now the way it just perfectly aligns that way. They're not doing anything additional to juggle his start. His start is supposed to be on Thursday. There's an off day. They would push him to an extra day. I think the fact that you're struggling, I would think you would be more sensitive to a young pitcher who maybe a year or two in the big leagues and you don't want to ruin his psyche. Vasquez has been around a long time. He has a good career. He's got a lot of great years. It's a blow. It's like, hey, you know what? We're going to get some side days. You're going to work with Dave Island, look at some video, do whatever you need to do to just get right. And I don't have a problem with that. I really don't. And I'm speaking as if I was the guy that was struggling. I've had several moments in my career where, and I'm certain I can't pinpoint it, but it happened to me a few times.
High fly ball, center field. Gardner is there, and a nice, easy 1-2-3 inning from Mark Melanson and the Yankees. Well, the Yankees have that decision to make. Right now we go to the bottom of the 8th. It's 12-0. White Sox on the WB Mason postgame. Nancy Newman and Kimberly Jones recap all the action from the Bronx, plus a look around the rest of the majors and the team's reaction from the clubhouse. It's all coming up in, I'd say, maybe 10, 20 minutes. Only on Yes. Alexi Ramirez, deep in thought. And it seems like he is not handling this loss that well, or this soon-to-be loss. 12-0. And Nix takes over at shortstop for Ramirez. New pitcher is Sergio Santos, and he deals to Marcus Timms a strike.
He's yet to give up a run. This converted infielder from the Twins. Another power arm out of the White Sox bullpen. Have some good arms. Matt Thornton. Santos. I know tonight, Pena didn't do the job along with Randy Williams. Up until this series, the White Sox bullpen has been one of their strengths.
Santos deals. We're in the bottom of the 8th inning. Rubber game of this 3-game set. Yankees looking to go 16-8 over their first 24 games. And Timms gets hit.
A backup slider there. The slider's supposed to be away, spins it up, doesn't do anything other than hurt his side.
You could hear Timms go, ah! That's going to bring up Brett Gardner. Gardner's had a good day, 2 for 3. A walk. 2 runs scored, 2 RBIs, a home run. The home run, a solo shot, came in the 4th inning against Mark Burley, tough left-hander. They do not hold on Timms. I don't think the Yankees are going to be running with a 12-0 lead. Here's that home run by Gardner.
Just leaving it in the inside part of the plate. His 4th home run of his career, first one this year. What a year so far for Brett Gardner. You got the right-handed lefty platoon situation. He's really shown. I thought the first night of this series with Matt Thornton, him coming up with a big hit, 97-mile-an-hour fastball, driving it past the shortstop. Matt Thornton being the left-handed power reliever.
Strike. Count 2-2. Swing and a miss. And Gardner down on strikes. Another scoreboard update. Let's check it out with our very own Nancy Newman. Killer loss for Zach Greinke. Pitched very well, but lost that game at 1-0. So we thank you, Nancy. We'll hear from you on the WB Mason postgame. Pitch is high to Pena. 1-0. Along with Al Leiter and Kimberly Jones, I'm Michael Kay. And you're watching Yankees baseball right here on the Yes Network. And we thank you for spending part of your Sunday afternoon with us. Finishing up your weekend with the gang here at Yes. Off the foot of Pena. You know what upsets me, Al? I thought we'd get to see the little pictures of ourselves again whenever we introduce ourselves.
Like that, huh?
Yeah, I really do. I like just the juxtaposition of your small head and mine. That one goes off the right foot of Ramiro Pena.
top part of his foot.
Count 2-1. The 2-1. Count 3-1. There they are, Al.
Oh.
Great picture of you and Kim.
Why do you say that? Actually, my head looks bigger than yours.
It does. I think mine's been shrunk into size. The 3-1.
Oh,
that's
bothering his foot there. You see that little hack there? He's gingerly on his front foot. I used to do, because I threw so many cutters, but if a ball hit off a guy's foot like that, I'd come back inside again. You see how he's just, it's going to have some ice on it later.
3-2. Hit sharply to short. Nice play by Nix. And Timms gets back. So Pena 0 for 5 today. But he hit the ball very hard right there.
Boy, did he ever. Just a line drive. Good play. Nick's reaction, too, just coming up. Tim's doing the right thing, getting back there. Less than 2 outs.
How rare is that, Al? Think about it. Nick's doing well in New York recently.
K-N-I-X?
K-N-I-C.
I know, I know.
Francisco Cervelli fouls it away.
Are you a LeBron fan?
Of course, if you love basketball, how could you not be?
Right.
That was not that bad of an elbow, the way he performed yesterday against the Celtics. Pretty good. I don't know if he's coming out. If you make me guess, I'd say no. I hope he does.
Be good for the NBA.
Not for the Cavs. Count 1-1. Well, did you like playing in your hometown, or did you like playing out of your hometown? You did it both New York teams.
How far is Akron from Cleveland? Is it
20 minutes, half hour. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
There's a strike.
I think it all depends on where you are in your career. I'm sure most people like playing near their home, so that's definitely going to be a pull. I think New York, the presence of a strong New York basketball team is needed for the NBA.
The 1-2. Well, they haven't had that in a long time, Al.
Yep.
Count 2-2 on Cervelli. Cervelli's playing third base. Came in at the top of the 8th inning, and Pena moved over to short. Two. Check swing. No, he goes around, and that will do it. So Santos works a scoreless 8th inning. No runs, no hits, no errors, and 1 man left. 3 outs to go. all-new WB Mason Presents the Joe Girardi Show, and after, there's more off-the-field fun and surprises on the season premiere of the Emmy-winning Yankees on Deck, presented by Topps Attacks. It's all today after the postgame, only on Yes. Beckham grounds one through the legs of Pena, and Beckham will reach. We'll see how they score. Beckham needs a hit, the way his last 2 days have gone. 7 strikeouts in the series, but that's a play that should be made, and Pena would tell you that as well.
Well, it went right between the wickets, so I can't imagine this not being an error. Hey, for Beckham, as you say, struck out 3 times today, had the hat trick yesterday. He just pulled his glove up on the ground. It was hit hard.
Well, they haven't decided yet. Now, Pena is playing today. He started at third base, and that's going to be scored in E6, and moved to short in the 8th inning. And there are conflicting reports on the, I don't even know what you call it anymore, newspapers / internet. One report said that Alex Rodriguez is out because of pain in his knee. Another report has Brian Cashman, the Yankee general manager, say that that's not the case. That Alex Rodriguez's pain in the legs was muscle related and not anything structural in the knee. So those are the 2 reports that are out there. I'm sure we'll handle this a little bit on the post game as well, but that's what we have right now. That's being written by separate writers. And we were told that Alex's legs were tired and he needed a day or 2 off, and that's the way it worked. So that one is dunked into right field. Andrew Jones didn't even know where the ball was and didn't run. But Andrew Jones gets himself a single as Beckham will move to third. So first and third and nobody out here in the 9th against Melanson.
Well, off the bat, it looked like a line drive to me. I don't know why he was confused about that. It certainly was hit hard. It wasn't a little blooper. A little unusual to not feel that off your bat. He thought he hit a pop-up. Certainly in a 12-0 game doesn't look good when you should be standing on second base right now.
So Jones 1 for 4. Here is Paul Konerko. I don't know exactly what shutouts mean, but a double play, a run would score, and that would take the 0 off the run counter for the White Sox. Melanson just wants to get out of this game. There's a grounder foul. Get out of the game unscathed, should I say. Konerko had a big 3-run home run in the Friday game against Andy Pettit. That did not hold up. Yankees won that game 6-4. Yankees lost yesterday 7-6, and they're poised to win this one. They're up 12-0 in the 9th.
Boy, you can't say enough about Phil Hughes. Of the 4 hits, 2 of them from the #1 hitter in Kotsay and 2 from Juan Pierre. 2 guys were struggling. Everybody else in the lineup until that base hit by Andrew Jones was hits. What a job by Phil Hughes.
That one's drilled deep to left field. There it goes. See ya. A long 3-run home run from Paul Konerko. White Sox are finally on the board, and the Yankees lead 12-3. That was a monster shot, his 12th home run of the year. That got into the second deck in left field, which is certainly reset from the fence. So that is a long blast.
Wow. Not too many balls have been hit up there in the new Yankee Stadium here in left field. That is a bomb. A guy leading the American League in home runs. Leading baseball in home runs. 24 RBIs. That landed up there in the second deck.
6 RBIs in this series for Paul Konerko. And Melanson deals the tee-in. Grounded slowly up the first baseline, but foul. Well, we have seen a lot of those type of slow rollers up either line in these 3 games. And Al, am I right? Every time it kicks foul. Every time.
Every time, right? I guess the one we'll never find out, but the ball that rolling to Montier.
Oh, that's true, yes.
Grounder in the first inning that ended up Nick Johnson picking it up. Well, that's the nature of the grass here at Yankee Stadium as well. The grass pushes really close to the baseline.
That one's staying fair. Tough hop, but Nick Johnson stays with it for the first out.
What I mean by that, with the small amount of dirt there, when the ball's rolling along, as soon as it hits here, it just kicks. And if it was a team that they were more inclined, a lot of bunting or a lot of fast runners, you want to keep that ball fair. You have that grass cut a little bit.
Carlos Quinton with a high fly ball to right field, and Nick Swisher will put it away for the second out.
Of course, the speed of Brett Gardner doesn't bunt a whole lot.
So the White Sox are down to their final out, and here is A.J. Brzezinski. He's 0 for 3, fly ball to left, ground ball to second, and a fly ball to right. And a strike from Melancon. Bottom of the 8th inning in Baltimore, and the Red Sox and the Orioles are 2-2. They'll have all the scores on the W.B. Mason postgame show coming up. And it's coming up shortly as this should do it. Brzezinski is out. The White Sox are out. And the Yankees win this game 12-3. So Mark Melancon pitches the final 2 innings of this game. Another big home run by Robinson Cano. Nick Swisher with his second home run in as many games, and the Yankees have now won 14 of their last 17 series here at Yankee Stadium and 7 of the 8 series this year. Career high 4 hits for Mark Teixeira, who was the DH today. Yankees pounded out 16 hits, and they win this one 12-3. One of the main stories, though, is how well Phil Hughes pitched, and Alexei Ramirez really has beaten himself up over the way his White Sox played in this series. And Al, I guess the main story, not one of the stories, the main story is Phil Hughes is now turning the corner, and he's a quality major league starter for the Yankees as their number 5th starter. Very much so, and I think that 5th starter will eventually, certainly in his career, be moved up in that ranks. And I was just very impressed all the way around with what he did and how he's really responded as a guy that's a legitimate, good major league pitcher. Well, Nick Swisher today, 3 for 4 with a walk, and he had a home run, second home run in as many days, and what a perfect person for Kimberly Jones to talk to. Kim? That's right, Michael, and he just said to me, what a game. Nick, with your permission, I want to rewind. Coming into yesterday's game, you were 1 for 23 here at your favorite stadium. What were you thinking? It's frustrating. You know, I feel that I put some good swings on some balls earlier in the year here, and I just haven't had much luck. But, you know, I got lucky today, found a couple holes. And, it's just nice to get off that snide, just get that monkey off your back and really just start, just putting the ball in play, making things happen. Yeah, I don't know if I believe it's luck, but 2 days later, 5 hits, 4 RBIs, couple of home runs. What does make the difference? Well, I think, if you're watching yesterday, I just tried to just quiet my swing down. I've been a little amped up, and I think I just been, the worse you do, the more you try, and for me, the more I try, the worse I do. So if I just relax, just take my A swing, just hopefully find some hits. I know you're going to love this. It's May 2nd, your second home run here. Right. Do you know when your second home run at Yankee Stadium was last year? It hasn't been a while. June 7th. You're a month ahead of schedule. I love it. And I bet you also love your starting pitcher today. Phil Hughes is becoming as good as they get, isn't he? Absolutely. I tell you what, Phil has done a great job for us. He goes out there and he gives you everything he's got. He's got a great fastball. Everything he's got is very lively. And when he gets the pitches in the zone and he gets ahead of hitters, he's pretty dangerous. Can you tell from right field that when he was missing today, it wasn't by much? That's what I'm saying. When he's around the zone, you're going to get a good day from him. And he's got electric stuff. And it's nice to see him get off to a great start. And another series win, this time against the White Sox. Absolutely. It was a great series for us, and we got to get ready for tomorrow. Thank you, Nick. All right. Michael, back to you. All right. Thank you, Kimberly, and thank you, Nick. I'll tell you what. Let's think about this. Here's Alexi Ramirez, and he might be thinking what Nick Johnson or Nick Swisher just said. The worse you do, the more you try. The more you try, the worse you do. You live that, right, Al?
Yeah, that's good stuff.
12-3,
like
Yankees beating the White Sox. A lot of reasons to celebrate for the Yankees this weekend. We'll talk about them and give out the awards next.